I am calling to order this meeting at 12:06, October 29th, 2022. The first item of business is for the LNC secretary to read aloud the list of names of persons who are credentialed to vote at this meeting until such time as bylaws are adopted and more extensive voting membership may be established. As per the meeting notice, the only persons entitled to vote here today are National Party members as of the date of the notice of this evening, which was October 13th, 2022, who are residents of New Mexico.
Oh, okay, and I will do that, but not everyone I read is necessarily present, but they have been pre-credentialed, but it looks like nearly everyone is here, and I'll try to note on this list for the meeting secretary. Actually, who is present. So who is credentialed is Tyler Askin, Carrie Baldwin, Deborah Beatty, Mike Blessing, Steve Borkowski, Don Bruckner, Brian Buffington, Stephen Burford, Laura Burrows, Rebecca Clark, Antonio DeGidio, Tom Fachin, Aurelio Gallardo, I am sorry if I'm butchering names, Sandra Herrera Spinelli, Elizabeth Hans, Daniel Hoost, Nancy Hoost, Eric Jardine, Andrew Kennedy, Rudolph Cohn, Chris Lucchini, Keaton Lucchini, Kess Lucchini, Patty Maloney, Frank Martin, Paul McKinney, Aaron Pearls, Lynn Pinedo, Marcus Petit, Devin Rivera, Nathan Shockley, Frederick Snoy, Rhett Trapman, and Bob Walesby. If there's anyone who's not on that list who thinks that they should be because they qualify, let me know now and I can check your credentials. If your name wasn't on that list and you're here, you're certainly welcome as a guest, but you cannot vote on these initial proceedings. And Mr. Askin, what I'm going to do on the attendance list that you have, I am going to bold all the people that I'm noting as present. So the secretary will have that for their records, and people are still joining as we speak.
Thank you, Ms. Harlow.
If I may ask, can we double check on my standing for Richard Gurry?
Sure, Richard, I did check with headquarters and they show that you signed up for national membership on either the day you were charged or the day before. And the day before is October 14th, which is one day past. Later on in the meeting, you may be qualified to vote after bylaws are passed, but in the initial proceedings, you did not meet the cutoff.
Copy that. Thank you.
All right, and Ms. Harlow, if you want to let me know when you're ready, I'll move on to the next section.
Oh, I'm ready whenever you are, Mr. Askin.
So as I understand it, we're going to begin with the election of the chair pro tem. Now, only those persons read aloud on that list can vote through the adoption of any bylaws, which may establish an expanded voting membership. The next item of business is the election of a chair pro tem to run the meeting. All right, so the election is not for the election of the chair of any new group, which may be formed today. This is just the chair of this meeting. Though anyone elected to chair this meeting may also be nominated for the position of chair of the newly formed group. I nominate Frank Martin for the position of chair pro tem for this meeting. Are there any further nominations? Okay, so there are no other nominations.
Mr. Askin, you may want to ask if there's an objection to Mr. Martin being the chair pro tem for this meeting.
Yes, Ms. Harlos, are there any objections to the nomination of Mr. Martin? being the chair-
Election.
The election of Frank Martin for this meeting.
A point of information. I was reading through this and the invitation that was sent out. Is there any requirement that a caucus member be registered to vote as a libertarian in this state?
Mr. Askin, just because I'm familiar with the rules of the meeting, would you like me to answer Mr. Lucchini?
Yes, ma'am. I'm not exactly sure I understand that question.
Okay, I believe I understand it, but Mr. Lucchini can let me know if I've misunderstood. This is an organizational meeting. The only requirements up through adoption of bylaws is national party members as of October 13th. I think the question you're asking more has to do with bylaws, which aren't on the floor at this time.
So to be clear, somebody who's registered as a Republican but was a national party member would be eligible to vote here.
Yes, Mr. Lucchini.
Okay, so if there are no objections and there are no other votes for a chair for this meeting, can I ask Ms. Carlos?
It
what
would-
be-
It's
Yeah.
turned over to Mr. Martin then.
All right, thank you.
Right, just say I declare him elected, yeah.
I declare Mr. Martin elected.
Greetings, everybody, from your chair pro tem, and thank you for attending this meeting. The next item of business is the election of a secretary pro tem for this meeting. This election is not for the election of the secretary of any new group which may be formed today. This is just to serve as secretary for this meeting. Though anyone elected as secretary of this meeting may also be nominated for the position of secretary of the newly formed group. I nominate Rudolph Cohn for the position of secretary pro tem for this meeting. Are there any further nominations? Going once, twice, three times. Are there any objections to Rudolph Cohn serving for the position of secretary pro tem for this meeting? Okay, well, hearing no other nominations and no objections, I declare Rudolph Cohn secretary pro tem for this meeting. The next item of business is to hear from certain representatives here present. First, we shall hear from one of the meeting organizers, Tyler Askin. Tyler, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. I want to thank everybody for showing up today. It was, it's always a miracle when we can have complete strangers all come together and join this. And I mean this sincerely, inside, outside, you're here, and that means a lot. And it means that we appreciate something. I've spent some time working for drilling crews, and I'm always fascinated when men can come across the country with all the emotional baggage and to the most harsh remote locations and work together. And, and we're here today because how do you get people to come together when there isn't a paycheck? I believe you do it through trust, and trust that membership, the work won't be squandered, that we share the same goal. And when I started working on this project a little over a year ago, it was because I was concerned about where society was going, and I want to warn as many people as possible. And it's sad to say that, when I did show up what I saw was an organization and just individuals that had a complete distrust of each other, who probably should have the same values. And that trust corroded the team to a point where I think the organization became hollow. The ones on the inside were terrified that outsiders would ruin their plans, and the ones on the outside became solely focused on getting inside that group. And so it's just, it seems like it's had every regular person who, such as myself, who isn't as interested in this style of, I don't know, politics, kind of thinking that everything was a joke. And I think that's pretty dangerous. So what we're here to do today is to kind of stop the needless fighting. I think it's a failure of me as a leader if I take people to an organization that I know is going to push back and to lie to people to get them to try a strategy that I don't see as a success. So we can't control the other side. What we can do is start by building something as honest as possible. And we're going to have to work to repair people's trust. And there's going to be a lot of labor that needs to be done. But if we can make it a labor of love, you know, we won't struggle to find people. They should be able to come to us because through our actions, they should at least see that, you know, we're trying something different, trying something new. And maybe that through traditional metrics is seen as a failure, but you know, I'm here because everybody assumes that I'm a failure because I don't meet their standard on traditional metrics, and I think I'm a very happy person. So I'd like to turn this over to a word from, you know, our representatives. If we could hear next from the LNC members present here, that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll call on those. Thank you very much, Mr. Askin. Let's see, do we have, I do see a hand up here and I will be calling on them after we have heard from the LNC representatives. Is Angela McCardle present? Okay, then I would like to call on Madam LNC Secretary Harlos to speak, to address the body.
Thank you, Chair Pro Tem. Also, just to draw your attention, something you might want to resolve. There's a message in chat that Mike Blessing's name is appearing on here twice. You might want to clarify that in a moment. I thank everyone who is here today. The LNC is super excited to have potentially a new, healthy, and functional affiliate. It's been a very unfortunate series of events that have led to today, but I can tell you that the goal and interest of the LNC is to have, again, a functional and open affiliate. Some of you may not realize that the requirement that all National Party members be involved in or at least have the potential to be involved in the organization of an affiliate, and that it be an open published meeting rather than any private group, whether it be a private group I agree with or a private group I don't agree with, was a requirement that I insisted that the LNC pass. So this is exactly the fruition of what I intended. And I'm here as a representative of the LNC to help facilitate this meeting, but this group is yours. It doesn't belong to the National Party, though obviously the National Party has certain interests in having a healthy group, and I'm here to help facilitate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. And now I would like to just welcome to the meeting. Do we have Pat Ford present? Okay. And I believe Joseph Eklund, our Region 6 representative, which includes New Mexico, is present. Thank you for attending, Mr. Eklund. Is Kathy Yanazovic present? Okay. Then I would also just like to recognize our LNC parliamentarians. Jonathan Jacobs, are you here? Okay.
And just a correction, Mr. Chair Pro Tem, Jonathan Jacobs is not associated with the National Party at all. He is in fact just a volunteer that helps state parties, but he, like Mr. Brown, is a Republican. He's not a Libertarian. Sorry to call you out, Richard. We love you anyway. But the official LNC parliamentarian is Mr. Brown.
Okay, then I would just like to welcome Richard Brown, the LNC parliamentarian, to this meeting. Thank you for attending. All right, now I do have a hand up here from Paul McKenney. Mr. McKenney, if you have business related to the business at hand, then please go ahead and speak.
Yes, sir. Just a point of information. Was this meeting properly noticed under state law in a paper of general circulation 14 days prior? And if so, what paper was that and what date was it published?
Mr. Martin, Chair Pro Tem, because this was an issue that was raised with the LNC, would you like me to answer that, or would you like to answer that, Mr. Martin?
Yes, please, Madam LNC Secretary, if you would answer the question.
Certainly. That requirement is for political parties. Political parties have to go through a petitioning process to be recognized by the state of New Mexico. This is an organization for not even a political action committee at the time, as there's no money collected yet and no treasury yet. So that state law requirement applies to political parties. Hopefully this group will be a political party one day, but they are not a political party today, and that requirement therefore does not apply.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. The next item of business is the adoption of a parliamentary authority to govern this meeting. And to that end, I recognize Devin Rivera, who has a resolution for this purpose. Mr. Rivera, you have the floor.
Resolved, Robert's Rules of Order, newly revised 12th edition, shall be the parliamentary authority adopted for the organization meeting of the Free Libertarian Party of New Mexico.
Thank you, Mr. Rivera. Now the floor is open for debate on the resolution. Do we have an objection to the resolution? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and declare the resolution passed. Robert's Rules of Order, newly revised 12th edition, shall be the parliamentary authority adopted for this organizing meeting of the Free Libertarian Party of New Mexico. The next item of business is the adoption of a resolution for the action for which this organizational meeting has been called. And to that end, I recognize Mr. Devin Rivera, who has a resolution for this purpose. Mr. Rivera, you have the floor.
Resolved to organize a new society to work towards functioning as a qualified political party within the laws of the state of New Mexico as an affiliate of the National Libertarian Party, and to apply for affiliation with the same upon adoption of bylaws.
Thank you, Mr. Rivera. We are now in debate on the resolution as read by Mr. Rivera. Is there an objection to the resolution? Okay. The resolution to organize a new society to work towards functioning as a qualified political party within the laws of the state of New Mexico as an affiliate of the National Libertarian Party, and to apply for affiliation with same upon adoption of bylaws is passed. The next item of business is adoption of bylaws.
Mr. Chair Pro Tem, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'd just like to let you know another credentialed member, Sandra Herrera Spinelli, has entered the room.
Thank you very much, Madam LNC Secretary. The next item of business is adoption of bylaws. Proposed bylaws were previously distributed and will be displayed on the screen by the Secretary Pro Tem, and also can be found at https:// tinyurl.com/nm-draft bylaws. Mr. Askin. do you- Yes.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair Pro Tem. I am making Mr. Cohn, who is the Secretary Pro Tem, a co-host and changing the sharing options. Let's see if this works. I think you should be able to share your screen now, Mr. Cohn.
Okay, while those are coming up, the proposed bylaws. So Mr. Askin, do you wish to move the adoption of these bylaws and provisos?
I do.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second the motion.
Thank you. The adoption has been moved and seconded. The proposed bylaws will be considered seriatim. This means the bylaws will be read one article or section at a time with any appropriate provisos. After each article or section is read, it will be open to debate and amendment. When amendment, if any, of one article or section is completed, the next one will be read and considered in the same way. No section or article will be adopted until all have been opened to amendment. Secretary Cohn, would you please begin with the reading of the bylaws? You're muted.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
And is my screen sharing properly?
I don't see it. Does anyone else see it?
I do have it on my screen.
Okay,
I
it's
have
just,
it on my end.
okay, let me, hold on one second. It's Zoom. Show all windows. I got it now.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
So I'll start with Article 1, name. The name of the organization shall be the Free Libertarian Party of New Mexico, hereinafter the party. The party shall operate as a political action committee and qualified political party under the laws of the state of New Mexico, as permitted, and shall be exclusively an affiliate of the National Libertarian Party, hereinafter the National Party. Proviso to Article 1, name. Article 1 is adopted with the proviso that the party's SCC can amend the party's name with a 2/3 vote if required by law, other legal issues, ballot access, and/or to qualify as a political party in New Mexico. The SCC can also change the party's name to Libertarian Party of New Mexico with the same conditions if and when legally permitted. If the new name does not contain the words Libertarian or Liberty, approval of the Libertarian National Committee will be required. This change must take place at a properly noticed regular or special meeting. This proviso is not intended to restrict the rights of delegates to amend these bylaws to rename the party to a name of their choosing if properly noticed to be heard at an annual or special convention.
Thank you, Secretary Cohn. Do we have any objections to Article 1 and the attached proviso? Okay, Secretary Cohn, would you please proceed with the reading of the bylaws?
Yes, I will proceed with Article 2, Statement of Purpose. The purpose of the party is to implement and give voice to libertarian principles, such as those in Article 3, Statement of Principles below, throughout the state of New Mexico by A. Providing leadership and direction for the libertarian movement in New Mexico. B. Communicating the message and positions of the party. C. Entering into political information and educational activities. D. Promoting, chartering, coordinating, and supporting party affiliates. E. Growing the party through attracting and retaining members. F. Attracting, nominating, and promoting professional, serious party candidates for political office. And G. promoting libertarian legislation throughout New Mexico.
Thank you, Secretary Cohn. Are there any objections to Article 2 as read? Hearing no objections, Secretary Cohn, would you please proceed with the reading of the bylaws?
Madam, I mean, excuse me, not madam, unless I'm presuming your gender. Mr. Chair Pro Tem, I'm sorry, all these titles. A couple more people have entered the room. They are not qualified to vote, but just so that you can note, one of them was Rob Wagner, and the other, let me get the name. It's not coming up, but I do have them marked as guests. I just wanted to let you know a few more people have entered.
Thank you, Secretary Harlos. Secretary Cohn, would you please proceed with the reading of the bylaws?
Yes. Article 3, Statement of Principles. We, the members of the Free Libertarian Party of New Mexico, challenge the cult of the omnipotent state and defend the rights of the individual. We hold that all individuals have the right to exercise sole dominion over their own lives and have the right to live in whatever manner they choose, so long as they do not forcibly interfere with the equal right of others to live in whatever manner they choose. Governments throughout history have regularly operated on the opposite principle, that the state has the right to dispose of the lives of individuals and the fruits of their labor. Even within the United States, all political parties other than our own grant to government the right to regulate the lives of individuals and seize the fruits of their labor without their consent. We, on the contrary, deny the right of any government to do these things, and hold that where governments exist, they must not violate the rights of any individual, namely, 1, the right to life. Accordingly, we support the prohibition of the initiation of physical force against others. 2, the right to liberty of speech and action. Accordingly, we oppose all attempts by government to abridge the freedom of speech and press, as well as government censorship in any form. And 3, the right to property. Accordingly, we oppose all government interference with private property, such as confiscation, nationalization, and eminent domain, and support the prohibition of robbery, trespass, fraud, and misrepresentation. Since governments, when instituted, must not violate individual rights, we oppose all interference by government in the areas of voluntary and contractual relations among individuals. People should not be forced to sacrifice their lives and property for the benefit of others. They should be left free by government to deal with one another as free traders, and the resultant economic system, the only one compatible with the protection of individual rights, is the free market.
Thank you, Secretary Cohn. Are there any objections to Article 3 as read? Hearing no objections, Secretary Cohn, if you would please proceed with the reading of the bylaws.
Yes. Article 4, Membership. Section 1, Categories and Definitions of Memberships. A, Party Caucus Member. A Party Caucus member is any New Mexico resident who has signed the non-initiation of force statement, which reads, quote, I certify that I do not advocate the initiation of force to achieve political or social goals, end of quotation, and has met one of the membership dues qualifications enumerated herein. Subsection 1, Party Caucus Membership Dues. Party Caucus membership dues are $25 per year. All yearly memberships expire on the first of the month following the 1-year anniversary of their payment. Subsection 2, Party Caucus Member Contact Information. Party Caucus members are required to provide the following information for the use of the party for communication purposes: full mailing address, valid phone number, valid email address, and/or a valid cell phone number that can receive SMS or text messages, and consent to receive communication via those means. This information is only to be used for official party business and communication and is not to be shared, sold, or disseminated outside of the state central committee and those subcommittees that have a legitimate need for such information. Subsection 3, Waiver of Membership Dues. The delegates assembled at annual convention may waive any or all of the required payments in recognition of significant work performed for the benefit of the party, including granting lifetime Party Caucus membership for extraordinary effort on behalf of the party. No such waiver or grant may be made by the board, state central committee, or in special convention. Subsection B, Lifetime Party Caucus Member. Lifetime Party Caucus memberships in the party may be awarded by the Central Committee for donations to the general treasury totaling $500 within a 12-month period, not to include donations to candidate campaigns or special funds. Subsection 1, or I guess subsection 1. Only persons signing the non-initiation of force agreement, which reads, quote, I certify that I do not advocate the initiation of force to achieve political or social goals, end of quotation, are eligible to be awarded lifetime party caucus membership. Subsection 2. It shall be the duty of the secretary to maintain and make secure a record of all lifetime memberships. Subsection 3. The delegates in convention may revoke any lifetime membership. Subsection C. National party membership. Membership dues, or subsection 1. Membership dues do not confer membership in the National Libertarian Party, which has its own dues. In subsection 2, membership in the National Party is required for national delegates. All right, section 2, membership benefits and restrictions. Subsection A, delegates to annual state conventions. In order to serve as a delegate to the annual state convention of the party, all party caucus memberships must be in place 30 days prior to the convention date to allow for the secretary to validate memberships. All party caucus members meeting this requirement and in good standing as of the convention date are automatically qualified upon attendance to serve as state convention delegates. Subsection 1. In addition, former party caucus members whose dues have lapsed within the 60 days prior to the announcement of an annual convention shall have a grace period in which to renew their membership by paying dues. Subsection 2. This grace period shall begin upon announcement of the annual convention on the party website, or upon announcement to the membership of the annual convention by email, whichever comes earlier, and the grace period shall end 15 days after the date of posting the announcement of the annual convention to the party website, or the date of the announcement by email, whichever comes later. Subsection 3. Members renewing under the grace period provisions in this section shall be qualified upon attendance to serve as delegates at annual conventions. Subsection B. Delegates to special conventions. In order to serve as a delegate to a special convention of the party, all party caucus memberships must be in place 30 days prior to the convention date to allow for the secretary to validate memberships. All party caucus members meeting this requirement and in good standing as of the convention date are automatically qualified upon attendance to serve as state convention delegates. Subsection 1. In addition, former party caucus members whose dues have lapsed within the 12 months prior to the announcement of a special convention shall have a grace period in which to renew their membership by paying dues. Subsection 2. This grace period shall begin upon announcement of the special convention on the party website, or upon announcement to the membership of the special convention by email, whichever comes earlier, and the grace period shall end 15 days after the date of posting the announcement of the special convention to the party website, or the date of the announcement by email, whichever comes later. Subsection 3. Members renewing under the grace period provisions in this section shall be qualified upon attendance to serve as delegates at special conventions. Article 4 has a proviso to Article 4 party membership. The membership that one must have fully paid dues in order to be a party caucus member is waived until January 1st, 2023, provided the member has pledged to pay their dues by that date. All national party members residing in New Mexico as of the time of the notice for this organizing convention are entitled to vote for amendments to the bylaws and elections of party directors at this organizing convention, regardless of any pledge to pay any party caucus membership dues.
Thank you, Secretary Cohn. Are there any objections to Article 4 as read?
Mr. Chair Pro Tem,
Yes.
I'm not a member here today, but if the members would indulge me, I have a suggestion in case any voting member wishes to move an amendment to this proviso. And I actually thank Mr. Lucchini for bringing such a potential issue to your attention. I would suggest, if a member wishes, to move to add to the proviso that only persons who are presently registered libertarians may vote on party leadership at this organizing convention. Let me let me rephrase that, because one thing you cannot exclude per the National Party are National Party members. Anyone who's a National Party member can be registered in any party. But put with the exception of qualified National Party members registered New Mexico resident. I'm probably going to word this poorly, but what I'm getting at is, with the exception of the New Mexico residents who are National Party members residing in New Mexico, as of October 13th, any other persons voting on party leadership must be registered Libertarians as of this date.
Okay, thank you, Secretary Harlos. Would you care to state that as a proviso?
If you give me one moment, I will stick it in chat. If any person who is qualified to move it, which I am not, wishes to do so.
Yeah.
So if I could have your indulgence, Mr. Chair Pro Tem, to maybe stand at ease for 2 minutes to give me an opportunity to type that into chat.
Certainly, we stand at ease for 2 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, I stuck that in chat. And the only thing I added was the last sentence: with the exception of the above qualified National Party members, any person voting on party leadership at this time, at this organization and convention, in addition, must be a New Mexico registered Libertarian on this date. And Mr. Walesby, if you don't mind me, Mr. Chair Pro Tem, you've already signed that statement, Mr. Walesby, as a National Party member. If you no longer agree with that certification, you do need to take that up with the National Party. However, you would then no longer be qualified to be a National Party member. That is required to be a National Party member. So you have already certified that statement.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I must have missed it when I was signing those documents with them. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Frank, you're muted.
Oh boy, that was a lot to be muted for. Thank you, Carrie. So do we have a member who would like to move for adoption of the proviso as placed in the chat by LNC Secretary Harlos?
Can I ask a little information on this first?
Sure.
So to my understanding, if this is requiring us to be, is this requiring us to be a member of what is now the Libertarian Party of New Mexico, what has disaffiliated from the National Party, that right now we are trying to regain affiliation in this party? Is this motion attempting us, or is this motion to decide if we need to be a member of what would be a competing political party to be able to vote on leadership for this organizing convention today?
No, the requirement is to be a registered Libertarian, not a member of the Libertarian Party of New Mexico.
But is that with the Secretary of State's office? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
okay.
I
think that
A voter
I think
register.
that should be amended. It should specifically say register to vote Libertarian with the New Mexico Secretary of State.
Here's my question. If you are registered Libertarian with the Secretary of State, that's directly affiliated with the non-affiliated National Party, right? The formally affiliated Libertarian Party of New Mexico. That would be a competing party to this party that we are trying to organize today. So if it's requiring you to be a registered Libertarian with the Secretary of State, that would be the party that met in March of 2022 to send delegates, right?
No. No, we're just talking about a voter registration form. We're not talking about membership of any party.
Point of question or something? I think I can explain it. Lynn, the registration with the Secretary of State, you can put whatever name for a party in there as you want. It doesn't matter. We're saying this amendment would say you need to put Libertarian as your party registration. And I think the purpose of it is to make sure that anybody that's voting on leadership for this party is not a registered Democrat or Republican participating in their primaries while at the same time controlling leadership of this particular group. Am I wrong about that?
Mr. Chair Pro Tem, would
Mr.
you like me?
Chair, I think it's a point of personal privilege or maybe inquiry.
Okay, go ahead.
This seems irrelevant to the current meeting as we are including all national party members. The status that the organizing meeting in March of 2023 requires, as far as your registration status, to be a member of that can be dealt with later. But for this particular meeting, if you have to be a national party member, and it doesn't matter what party you're registered as long as you're a national party member, you can participate. This is kind of a pointless thing to debate for this meeting. Because at the end of the day, you have to be a national party member, and that's what's important for this meeting. Am I not understanding this correctly?
Mr. Chair Pro Tem?
Yeah, Secretary Harlos, you have the floor.
I understand Mr. McKinney's confusion. In order to vote all the way up through approval of bylaws, you are absolutely correct. Once there are bylaws, there's a new organization in place. The voting pool then expands. It doesn't have to be national party members. It is people who meet the membership requirements in the newly adopted bylaws, which are people who pledge to sign dues, pay dues, and reside in New Mexico. There's no requirement to be a national party member. This is just adding a temporary requirement for this meeting only, that those who vote on the leadership are registered Libertarians, which is, as of this moment, a different political party. But I think everyone recognizes that this group, everyone who is in this group, or nearly everyone, was probably formally in agreement with that. A lot of people answered surveys. They did not want to be disaffiliated. So I think we could assume that until such time that you guys become qualified as a political party under whatever name, that your memberships are going to be mostly libertarians who are technically members of the other disaffiliated group as well. This is all entirely up to you. I'm throwing that out there. If it's something you want to consider, this is your group.
Okay, well, I'm not hearing any further debate on this matter. Do I have a motion from the floor to adopt the revised proviso as posted in the chat, or any other motion?
I would move to adopt it as written in the chat by Secretary Harlos.
I second.
Second.
Okay, we'll do this by voice. We'll try this by voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. The motion is adopted. Secretary Cohn, would you please copy, paste, or otherwise amend the proviso to Article 4 party membership as posted by LNC Secretary Harlos?
Yes, I'm working on it now.
Mr. Chair, this is Mr. Brown, parliamentarian. Just
Yes, Mr. Brown.
any future motions like this can be adopted without objection. You can just ask if there's any objection.
Right.
And if there's no objection, just declare it adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. I will take that advice. It appears that the proviso has been amended. So, Secretary, would you please proceed with the reading of the bylaws?
One moment, I'm making sure there was no other change to the earlier text in the proviso. All right, it seems to match. I'll move on with Article 5. Article 5, Directors. Section 1, Composition of the Board of Directors. The Board of Directors, or Board, shall consist of the party directors. The party's State Central Committee, or SCC, shall consist of the board and the county chairs. Subsection B. There are 11 party directors positions as follows: Chair, Vice Chair, Affiliate Development Director, Campaigns Director, Membership Director, Communications Director, Outreach Director, Secretary, Legislative Director, Treasurer, and Fundraising Director. Subsection C. Any member of the board may be suspended by vote of 2/3 of the current board. Any member of the board absent from 2 consecutive regular meetings of the board may be suspended at adjournment of the second regular meeting. The board may, by a 2/3 vote of the current members, appoint or reinstate directors if vacancies or suspensions occur. Reinstated or appointed directors are to serve until the next convention. Subsection D. The board shall have control and management of all the affairs, properties, and funds of the party, consistent with this Constitution, and shall meet in the manner specified in these Constitution. Section 2, Director Elections. Subsection A. Only convention delegates eligible to vote may run for party director, and only if they promise to fulfill the requirements of this article. Subsection B. Except in the case of an appointed director, the following directors shall be elected in odd-numbered years in this order: Chair, Vice Chair, Affiliate Development Director, Campaigns Director, Membership Director, and Communications Director. And the following directors shall be elected in even-numbered years in this order: Outreach Director, Secretary, Legislative Director, Treasurer, and Fundraising Director. The election of each director shall be conducted independently of the others. Such elections shall be conducted by the delegates to the convention as provided in these bylaws, and shall not take effect until adjournment sine die of the business session of the convention, and the director-elect has signed the Statement of Principles of the National Libertarian Party, and a statement disavowing the initiation of force to achieve political or social goals. The term of each director shall be 2 years, or until a successor is elected or appointed. Subsection C. An appointed director's term ends at the adjournment sine die of the business session of the next convention, regardless of year, when an election shall fill either the remainder of the term or the next full term, based on the schedule above. Subsection D. Director elections shall exclude any director eliminated upon adjournment sine die of the business session of the convention, and shall include any director created upon adjournment sine die of the business session of the convention, regardless of the year designated for it above, with the term of each director adjusted to end at the adjournment sine die of the business session of the convention of the designated year. Section 3, Director-specific duties. Subsection A. The chair shall be the chief executive officer of the party, holding the powers of administration pertaining to the ordinary business affairs of the party, and such other powers as may be delegated by the board, as well as overseeing leadership training and succession planning at all levels within the party. Unless otherwise specified in the party's bylaws, special rules of order, or resolutions of the board, the chair is responsible for appointing the chairs of all committees. The chair shall call the convention as specified in these constitution. The chair or their designee, including other directors acting within their designated job duties at the direction of the chair, shall be the person who shall communicate on behalf of the party. The chair shall file any amendments to this bylaws with the Secretary of State within 15 days after such amendments are adopted. Subsection B. The vice chair shall assist the chair in performance of executive duties, act as chair in the temporary absence of the chair, and ensure affiliate compliance with requirements enumerated in this Constitution. The vice chair shall also review and test the procedures in each director's continuity binders in accordance with the policy manual and report the results to the chair. Subsection C. The secretary shall be responsible for maintaining official party records and shall act as recording secretary for all legal purposes. The secretary shall maintain a party calendar of all deadlines required by these bylaws, and the Secretary of State, and shall post these dates within 60 days of their deadlines in accordance with the party's standing rules and special rules of order. The secretary shall compile, maintain, and make available to the board a publication listing all standing rules and special rules of order adopted by the board. Subsection D. The treasurer shall be responsible for maintaining accurate records of all income and expenses associated with the operation of the party, and shall present a summary of all income and expenses at each regular meeting of the board. The income and expense summary may be limited to activities since the last regular meeting of the board. The treasurer may also prepare budgets for the other directors or assist them in preparing their own budgets. The treasurer shall maintain an efficient double entry system of accounts. Subsection E. The affiliate development director shall develop and support affiliates and development groups, and guide development groups toward official affiliate status. The affiliate development director may establish and manage committees, including the appointment of any committee chairs, to perform these functions. Subsection F. The campaigns director shall identify political races and recruit candidates. The campaigns director shall also coordinate candidates and campaigns and assist candidates in navigating compliance with campaign legal requirements and in obtaining campaign volunteers. The campaigns director may establish and manage committees, including the appointment of any committee chairs, to perform these and other campaign functions. Subsection G. The membership director shall be responsible for developing membership education programs, recruiting and training activists, and publishing a regular internal newsletter. The membership director shall also be responsible for maintaining or for managing and accessing membership records for internal party use and coordinating membership data with the National Libertarian Party. The membership director may establish and manage committees, including the appointment of any committee chairs, to accomplish these and other membership functions. Subsection H. The communications director shall be responsible for all outward-facing communications, websites, multimedia, social media, press releases, media appearances, and media inquiries. The communications director may establish and manage committees, including the appointment of any committee chairs, to accomplish these and other communications functions. Subsection I. The outreach director shall be responsible for booking and running outreach booths and community events, and for maintaining outreach materials. The outreach director may establish and manage committees, including the appointment of any committee chairs, to perform these and other outreach functions. Subsection J. The legislative director shall be responsible for monitoring activity in the state legislature, communicating with that body, developing legislation or issue-oriented committees, including the appointment of any committee chairs, and working with other organizations on areas of mutual concern. Subsection K. The fundraising director shall be responsible for establishing and operating fundraising activities, including, but not limited to, the annual convention, a monthly pledge program, fundraising from members, coordinating speakers and events for the purpose of party fundraising, and reporting all income and expenses related to fundraising at each regular board meeting. The fundraising director may establish and manage committees, including the appointment of any committee chairs, to accomplish these and other fundraising functions. Subsection L. Each director will be responsible for maintaining documentation within their area, and they will provide a written report to be passed on to their successor. They will not incur expenses beyond budget without approval of the board. Subsection M. Each director shall be an ex officio member of each party's affiliate board of directors for the purposes of upholding the spirit and letter of the Statement of Principles of the National Party, enforcing these bylaws and the rules and resolutions adopted by the convention or the state board, and providing relief in times of distress. Directors shall not be counted in determining the number required for a quorum at an affiliate's annual or board meetings, but may be counted in determining that a quorum is present. Each director shall actively participate in a meeting of at least one party affiliate or development group each calendar year. Proviso to Article 5, Directors. Only the chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer shall be elected at the organizing convention, and will then be treated as if they were appointed to the positions, and thus will all be up for election again at the March convention. These elections may be done by voice vote. The organizing convention chair shall serve until adjournment sine die of the organizing convention.
Thank you, Secretary Cohn. I appreciate your endurance there. Do we have any debate or motions on this Article 5?
I have one note to make. It appears that the term Constitution has appeared several times in this article, and those references to this Constitution should be changed to these bylaws in all cases in this article. It would take me a couple of minutes to find all of those instances and note them individually, or how can we proceed?
Yeah, I counted 3 of them. So do I have a motion to change all instances of Constitution to the word bylaws?
A motion to change Constitution to bylaws.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Are there any objections to the motion? Okay, Secretary Cohn, if you would make those changes. We also have a stray reference to development groups, which needs to be deleted. Do I have a motion to delete references to development groups?
A motion to delete development groups.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Any objection? Okay, thank you very much. Secretary Cohn, if you would delete references to development group or development groups. I also noticed in section M, just where it says enforcing this bylaws, that should really read enforcing these bylaws. Do I have any objection to that change? Thank you. Okay, any other anything else, any other motions or debate on this section? Okay, hearing no objections, we will proceed when the secretary is ready to the reading of Article 6. Secretary Cohn, would you like me to take over reading Article 6 while you continue to work and maybe let your voice recover?
Yeah, that sounds good. I'll keep working on making these changes to Article 5.
Okay, I'll read Article 6, State Central Committee meetings. Section 1, times of meetings. The State Central Committee shall convene open meetings at such times and places as may be determined by action of the State Central Committee, by call of the chair, or by written request of 1/3 or more of the current State Central Committee or 3 directors. Notice must be sent to the official email address of each State Central Committee member and posted to the party website at least 48 hours prior to such meeting. The notice shall include the date, time, and place or virtual address of the meeting and the proposed agenda. Such meetings shall be called at least once per calendar quarter. Section 2, quorum. More than 1/2 of the current membership of the board of directors shall constitute a quorum at all meetings for the transaction of business, except where a larger vote is required by these bylaws. County chairs do not count towards quorum, but do count towards determining if any proposition passes or fails. Any state central committee member may participate in a state central committee meeting or committee meeting by means of electronic communications equipment, which allows all persons participating in the meeting to hear or otherwise communicate with each other. Section 3, the state central committee and its appointed or bylaws mandated committees may transact business by electronic communications as specified by special rules of order adopted by the state central committee. 4, attendance. Any party caucus member in good standing may attend any state central committee meetings. And an SCC member who will be absent for no more than 2 meetings a calendar year can appoint any party caucus member in good standing as a proxy. No proxy may represent more than 1 state central committee member at any state central committee meeting. The state central committee member who is being represented by a proxy must notify the chair and the secretary of the substitution. 5, Section 5, minutes. Minutes of state central committee meetings shall be posted by the secretary to the party website no later than 15 days after the meeting. Minutes for the meeting prior shall be approved at each state central committee meeting. Okay, having read Article 6, are there any objections to the adoption of Article 6?
Mr. Chair Pro Tem, just FYI, since you're going seriatim, you're not
It's
really
not
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Secretary Harlows. Are there any objections to Article 6 as read? Hearing no objections, I'll go ahead and read Article 7.
Mr. Chair Pro Tem,
Yes.
just housekeeping. There is a Rebecca, I believe it's Rebecca Clark, who is a credentialed member, but because everyone here does have the right to see everyone's full name to make sure they are credentialed, could I please have confirmation from Rebecca that this is Rebecca Clark?
Yes, I have technical difficulties unmuting myself, but this is Rebecca Clark.
Thank you. I'll change your name so that it reads full. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. I will proceed with the reading of the bylaws. Article 7, conventions. Annual conventions shall be held on or about the first weekend in March or as provided by state law. Section 2, in addition to annual conventions, special conventions may be called by a vote of 2/3 of the board of directors or upon petition of 10% of the party caucus members for matters required to bring the party into compliance with state or federal law or matters of an emergency nature, including amendments to these bylaws. Special conventions may also be held to nominate candidates for special elections. The cost and physical arrangements for special conventions called by petition of the party caucus membership are to be borne by the sponsors of the petition. Section 3, the secretary or the convention committee, if one is established by the board, shall make the following notifications in regard to conventions. Subsection A, all notices of convention made under this section shall include the date, time, and public place where the convention is to be held, the business to be considered, and the requirements for being a convention delegate, membership dues, and the grace period for lapsed members as set down in Article 4 membership. Subsection B, party caucus members shall be notified no later than 30 days prior to the convention date by the preferred means of contact provided by the party caucus member and additionally by other means determined appropriate by the secretary. Subsection C, concurrent to the notification of party caucus members, the party website and party-sponsored social media shall be prominently posted with notice of convention and the requirements for being a delegate. Subsection D, convention notices made to members to the party website and to party social media shall include contact information for inquiries regarding delegate credentials. Timely response shall be made to all such inquiries and every reasonable effort made to facilitate delegate participation. Subsection E, notice of the convention shall be made in a newspaper of general circulation in the state if required by state law. Section 4, the proposed agenda of convention shall be approved by the board at least 15 days prior to the convention date and immediately published to the party website and sponsored social media, but in no case later than 10 days prior to the convention date. Once the agenda is published under this provision, no changes may be made except by the delegates assembled. Section 5, the chair, secretary, or credentials committee established by the board is empowered to verify the credentials of any delegates. Section 6, each convention shall include a business meeting. Business meetings shall be conducted according to the current edition of Robert's Rules of Order, except as otherwise provided by this Constitution. Section 7, no fee may be required of any party caucus member to participate in the business session of any convention. However, fees may be required for participation in other convention events. 8, any required changes to this constitution or bylaws that are made at a special convention must be ratified by the next annual convention, regardless of the year of the convention, using the same voting threshold required to change the document as provided for in this bylaws, or else they will be rendered null and void. Section 9, unless ordered by state law, conventions are not permitted to be held electronically. Proviso to Article 7 conventions. The prohibition against electronic conventions does not apply to this organizing convention. That completes the reading of Article 7. Do I have any amendments or debate offered?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Lynn.
Regarding special conventions in Section 2, thing that we have, I'll go ahead and read it. In addition to annual conventions, special conventions may be called by a vote of 2/3 of the board of directors or upon petition of 10% of the party caucus members for matters required to bring the party into compliance with state or federal laws or matters of an emergency nature, including amendments to these bylaws. Is there an amendment that we can make that can specify that only bylaws that can be changed need to be specific to state or federal laws? All other bylaw changes need to be made at annual convention.
So if I understand you correctly, Mr. Pinetto, you're requesting that amendments to bylaws be constrained to those amendments necessary to bring the party into compliance with state or federal law. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Specifically, what I want to avoid is the ability to change membership status in any way. I want to avoid those types of changes to the bylaws to be made unless it's in front of the full convention, the full normally scheduled annual convention in March.
Can I motion to adopt Lynn's amendment to Article 2?
Yeah, I don't have it written out, but once we can get a look at.
Okay. I would just offer the following observations on that, Lynn. There are very strict notice requirements for the special convention, and we don't want to unnecessarily box in the special convention. I can understand the caution, but a good balance needs to be struck with flexibility and their ability to respond to contingencies as they arise. So given that we have the strict notice requirements, I would recommend as chair against adoption of that change.
Willing to debate this and come up with a better resolution then. Can we make specific that can we come with a resolution that says Party membership may not be, qualifications of membership may not be discussed at special conventions, something along those lines, delegate qualifications, something like that can only be laid out in the annual convention, at least specific to party membership then, if not just federal law.
Mr. Chair Pro Tem, may I offer something that I know will come up at the LNC in reference to this discussion?
Yes.
Obviously, delegate stuff is all your business. I'm not going to comment on that. However, there's a change to party membership that you're probably going to want to make midterm. Right now, you are not this group, if the bylaws are adopted, is not a qualified political party under New Mexico law. But hopefully at some point you will be, and that probably is not going to happen right before an annual convention. And you're probably going to want to amend your bylaws to require party registration in whatever status you end up achieving with the state of New Mexico. And you don't want to have to wait a year for that. The LNC, if this group is affiliated, is going to be sinking probably, a fair chunk of money into getting you guys qualified. And we're going to want to know that you're going to be able to quickly amend your bylaws to adjust to that new reality. Your delegate thing, that's entirely your business. That's your opinions. But the LNC does have a very specific interest here in you guys being able to be flexible with your changing status with the state of New Mexico when you do become a qualified political party, which you are not right now. The word party is used in your bylaws colloquially, because that's a legal term, which you technically are not right now a party. Even when these bylaws are passed, New Mexico declares you a party or not, and you have to have a petition of so many signatures. But once you have that petition, your National's not going to want to sink a lot of money into a party that's not going to protect itself to its members.
Okay, thank you, Madam LNC Secretary, for your advice. Do we still have, do we have a motion on the floor at this point? Okay, then I am going to just jump and see if we have any objection to adoption of Article 7 as read.
I wanted to amend to replace the mentions of Constitution or this Constitution with these bylaws.
Thank you.
Could someone? I make that motion. Could someone? If we have a second, I can do that.
Yeah.
Second.
Is there any objection to the to changing the references to Constitution to the word bylaws? Okay. Secretary Cohn, if you would make those changes, please.
All right.
And seeing as there is no objection, other objections, we'll move on to.
We have some hands raised.
Mr. Chair Pro Tem.
Mr. Chair Pro Tem.
Okay, thank you for bringing that to my attention. Mr. Askin.
Yeah, this was in regards to the special convention section that Lynn brought up. This is a question. I thought we were, hold on. Was there a part where we have changes to special conventions? We can make changes in special conventions, but they are temporary until a actual convention, an annual convention, where it's then formalized.
Yes.
That was just me. Okay, so just to make sure I understand that we can have special conventions where we do make changes, but if they are not.
See Section 8. See Section 8. Any required changes to these bylaws that are made at a special convention must be ratified by the next annual convention, regardless of the year of the convention, using the same voting threshold required to change the document as provided for in these bylaws, or else they will be rendered null and void.
Okay. All right,
Okay,
thank you,
so
sir.
if it's not ratified at the next annual convention, it disappears.
Point
Okay,
of question, doesn't that mean though you could change it to where you limit the amount of people that are voting at that annual convention and they're the ones that are going to be ratifying it?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up enough that I couldn't quite make that out.
If you change the rules on who qualifies as a voting member mid-year, and then at the convention they're to be ratified, doesn't that allow for you to only have votes for people that you want to be voted, and therefore they would ratify? Isn't that a loophole?
It might be. The chair calls our parliamentarian, Richard Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've had 2 or 3 comments. First, I was going to suggest changing constitution to bylaws, and that has already been done. As far as fine tuning what can be done at a special convention when it comes to amending the bylaws, I was just going to point out that this is something that can actually be tweaked at your first annual convention, which is what, just 4 months away. It's up to you folks whether you want to get into that now or work on this and tweak it at your convention.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Okay, I don't have any other hands raised.
Terry has a hand
There's
raised.
Carrie Baldwin.
Yes, Gary Baldwin does.
Harry,
Hi. So it seems like the phrase in question is including amendments to these bylaws, which is very vague. I would recommend that we strike that. I would move that we strike that for now and come back to it at the next convention.
I'd
Second.
that.
okay. Debate on the motion on the floor.
Yes, I would like to ask for the LNC secretary, Madam LNC secretary, if that would, in the short term, hinder our ability to also, would that be too vague of a strike to be able to meet any of the questions or anything that you had in mind that you may need to adjust on the fly between now and our spring convention in March?
I think the chance, since your March convention is so soon, I'm sure if the LNC has a concern, they can bring it to the board. I don't see any danger if you intend upon revisiting this in March, if you wish to strike that at this point. I don't see, what I'm trying to say is, we're not going to get you official party recognition in a month, so that there'll be months and months before you can switch your definition if you need to. Your March convention is coming up rapidly enough that I think you can address it then.
Okay, is there further debate? Okay, would you care to restate the motion, Mr. Pinetto?
This was Carrie's motion.
Carrie?
Yes, I move to strike, including amendments to these bylaws.
And we have that seconded. Then why don't we have a vote on that? All in favor of the amendment, say aye.
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 All opposed, say no. Okay, the ayes have it here, and including amendments to these bylaws is struck. Thank you, Secretary Cohn, for taking care of that.
Shall I continue reading with Article 8?
Yes, please, if you could do that. Thank you.
All right. Article 8, Nomination of Candidates. Section 1. Members who wish to be a candidate for partisan office in New Mexico, other than president or vice president, may submit an application to the board or its designated committee no later than 45 days before the convention. Members shall be notified that the application process is open no later than 90 days before the convention. A web page for the candidates shall be posted on the party website at least 30 days before the convention. Section 2. The application shall consist of 1. A photograph of the candidate. 2. The application form provided by the board. 3. A biography and a minimum of 3 issue positions for the webpage. 4. Filling out any electronic forms required by the party or the National Libertarian Party. And 5. Signing a statement to the effect that they support the statement of principles of the National Libertarian Party and a statement disavowing the initiation of force to achieve political or social goals. Section 3. Each candidate must have been a party caucus member during the entire period from January 1st of the year of the convention until the nominating convention. Section 4. Candidates may be nominated by delegates to the convention. Subsection A. For any partisan offices, convention delegates shall vote by approval voting to nominate candidates for those offices. Subsection B. Candidates nominated from the floor shall sign a statement that they support the statement of principles of the party and a statement disavowing the use of force to achieve political or social goals. Section 5. Candidates may be nominated by a vacancy committee designated by the delegates. Subsection A. The vacancy committee shall operate between conventions and shall vet candidates as needed. Subsection B. The vacancy committee shall not nominate for the same race in the same year a candidate rejected by a none of the above vote in convention. Subsection C. Candidates nominated by the vacancy committee shall sign a statement that they support the statement of principles of the party and a statement disavowing the use of force to achieve political or social goals. Subsection D. The board or its designees shall serve as the vacancy committee unless the delegates to the convention direct otherwise. Section 6. In addition to candidates, none of the above, NOTA, shall be a choice on every nomination ballot cast. At no time shall NOTA be removed from the nomination ballot, even under suspension of the convention rules. Should NOTA win the nomination for a partisan office, nominations may be reopened for one additional round of voting. Only new candidates are eligible to run on the additional ballot. If NOTA wins on the second ballot, there will be no candidate for that race. Section 7. Any party nominee in a partisan contest where party identification on the ballot is permitted shall use the designation provided by the party. Only candidates nominated by the process set forth in this article may use this designation. A party nominee qualifies for campaign assistance from the party. Section 8. The party, its affiliates, and its elected directors in their official capacities, either individually or as a group, shall endorse only party or National Libertarian Party nominees for election to partisan public office. Section 9. At any time that any of the party's candidates participates in a primary election, the party shall opt out of allowing unaffiliated or other persons who are not party members from participation and provide appropriate notice to the Secretary of State's office as provided by law.
Thank you, Secretary Cohn. And thank you to the dog who added a little something to the reading there.
I'll take care of that.
Are there any objections to the Article 8 as read? Okay, hearing no objection, Secretary Cohn, would you proceed with the reading of Article 9?
Article 9, National Convention Delegates and Alternates. Section 1. All National Convention delegates must have been members for at least 90 days immediately prior to the first day of the convention in which they are elected, and must sign a statement to the effect that they support the statement of principles of the National Libertarian Party. Section 2. The SCC shall solicit applications from qualified members for election as National Convention delegates and alternates at least 60 days prior to the convention and shall publish the completed applications with addresses, phone numbers, and email addresses redacted to the party website at least 30 days prior to the convention. An application is not required for nomination. Section 3. The party chair shall announce at the annual convention the number of National Convention delegates to be elected by the state convention delegates. Section 4. Nominations for National Convention delegates shall be received from the floor with no seconding required. Members may nominate themselves. Each state convention delegate in attendance at the state convention shall cast a single vote for each national convention delegate candidate of their choice by submitting a signed ballot prepared by the SCC for this purpose. The total votes cast by each state convention delegate shall not exceed the number of national convention delegates to be selected. National convention delegates shall be elected by a simple majority of the state convention delegates voting. Subsequent ballots shall be taken as necessary to fill any remaining national convention delegate slots. In the event that there are more candidates receiving a majority vote than there are national convention delegate slots to be filled, those candidates receiving the highest vote totals shall be elected. No elections by slate shall be permitted. Section 5. After the National Convention delegates are elected, National Convention alternates shall be selected by using the same procedure as used for selecting National Convention delegates. Section 6. The party chair shall serve as a delegation chair or may request that the National Convention delegates select a delegation chair. Substitutions shall only be made from the list of National Convention alternates selected by the state convention delegates or afterwards added by a majority vote of the present SCC, provided said National Convention alternates did not receive a less than majority vote by the last state convention. Substitutions and selection of additional National Convention delegates may be made at the National Convention by a majority of the attending National Convention delegates, provided that such substitutes or additions would have been qualified to be elected at the state convention, did not receive less than a majority vote at the last state convention, and have signed a statement to the effect that they support the statement of principles of the National Libertarian Party. Section 7. For each vote, all National Convention delegates will sign their physical ballot or submit to the delegation chair an accurate list of their electronic ballots. These results will be compiled by the delegation chair in a post-National Convention report, which shall be published on the party website within 15 days of the conclusion of the National Convention. Upon request, within 30 days of the National Convention delegates, as they are able, shall also report how they voted on particular bylaws, convention rules, and platform changes. When these reports are made, they shall be promptly published to the party website.
Thank you, Secretary Cohn. Are there any objections to Article 9 as read?
I would suggest that the requirement of reporting ballots is impractical given the nature of national conventions, but that's just a matter of practicality. You can certainly require it. There are lots and lots of votes that come up that are not signed paper ballots, that are standing votes, that are of consequence. But you can in fact require this if you want.
Is there any further comment?
Yeah, hold on. I just have a little difficulty understanding exactly what Mr. Lucchini brought up. Could I get him to clarify that, or somebody else, please?
Yeah, I mean, in the National Convention, there are paper and presumably in the future electronic votes, but there are also votes on things like procedural issues with respect to amendments and votes on platform issues and so forth that are not done by paper ballot. They're done by voice vote, standing vote, etc. If the intent here is to make someone notate every single vote that can happen at 2-minute, 5-minute, 10-minute intervals at National Convention, then that's fine. I mean, I don't have a philosophical problem with it. It just seems very burdensome. If you want to restrict it to written votes, right, there's very few things at the National Convention that require written votes. Then I think you need to be more explicit about that. But again, do what you will.
Mr. Lucchini, would it be accurate to state your thoughts as you would recommend the elimination of subsection 7 from the words "upon request" forward? Is that accurate, or is that not what you're getting at?
That's not what I'm getting at. I'm just simply saying there are so many votes at a national convention that this is going to be incredibly burdensome on the delegates.
Well,
if you
so-
restrict it to, hold on, let me read this again here. I guess the way it's worded, it's still restricted to physical or electronic ballots. Hold on. Yeah, and that's that part. So the last part, upon request, you have to report how you voted on everything. That seems overly broad, but again, I am not objecting to this. I'm simply pointing out that this seems overly broad.
Well, the phrase "as they are able" is in there. Now, the chair calls on Richard Brown, the LNC parliamentarian. Mr. Brown, you have the floor.
I think you could perhaps solve this problem in section 7 in the first 3 words where it says for each vote, just add the word for each written vote or each vote by ballot. Because Mr. Lucchini makes a point, there are lots of votes, that are not done by written ballot.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Is there any further debate? Carrie? I don't, when your hand goes up, I don't see it, Carrie. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
that's all right.
It's just not there.
I would like to echo Mr. Lucchini's concerns. We would be in violation of that in this very meeting because we've had voice votes. We've been able to keep track of them and have not been, presumably. So I would make a motion. Well, actually, I want to ask Mr. Lucchini if he feels like the parliamentarian's suggestion would suffice and solve that problem.
I don't actually. I think if you added the written in the last sentence, I believe that's the last sentence, then or last 2 sentences, that would take care of it. Or put it in both places. Repetition isn't going to hurt you, but again, that's yeah.
So you said eliminate the last 2 sentences in section 7.
And I'm not advocating that. I'm just simply saying that you may want to specify in the last 2 sentences that it is written votes or written or electronic votes rather than all votes. And then again, what Mr. Brown said, the written or recorded votes is implied or is explicitly stated in the first sentence. So I think adding written votes is redundant in the first sentence, but not in the last 2 sentences.
Okay, so Mr. Chair, I think at this point, what we need is some time to come up with some wording.
Well, yeah, we could do that. I think those last 2 sentences begin with the words "upon request." So if no request is made, then only the first 2 sentences apply.
How are you going to remember what you voted on if somebody asks you 30 days after a convention about the 307th vote you took?
Well, I certainly see your point. The phrase "upon request" is there, and then also the phrase "as they are able shall also report." If you're asked to report on the 307th vote and you don't remember what you did, then you're not able to make that report. That's allowed under here.
I think that's opening us up for some trouble.
It looks like the LNC secretary has her hand up as well.
Oh, I'm sorry. Secretary LNC Harlos.
Only because the sentence came from Colorado bylaws. I can give you some history. It's been in Colorado bylaws for a while. Nobody has ever made this request. And the intent is if you're able to remember. Let me just give you an example of where this might come up. Delegates are accountable to the state that sends them. For instance, say you were unhappy with a controversial vote last convention, such as, say, deleting the abortion plank. This would give you the right, and that was a voice vote. This would give you the right to hear from your delegates how they voted so you can make future decisions. That's the whole point of this. It's never been invoked in Colorado. Nobody, you're just not going to remember every single vote, but something like how you voted on a controversial plank, people are going to remember, and that was the intent of this. But if you don't like it, you should just strike those last two sentences, and the rest of it then just deals with written votes. This might be something that's just a Colorado type fetish that you guys don't want in New Mexico, and that's perfectly appropriate.
Yeah, well, I kind of like the idea of having national convention delegates accountable to the party membership, at least in the form of, we know what they did, right? That's the purpose of this. So if you really think that, you just want to let people do whatever they want to do and we never know anything about it, well, then, you may want to make some changes here. I'm going to go ahead and, I'm going to entertain motions. I'd like to get this moving along to our next section so that we're not here well into the evening. And I'm sure you guys probably feel that way. We do have important business and we'll get that done. So do I have a motion on the floor? All right. Just a reminder, this is something we don't necessarily have to deal with now, right? Because the national convention isn't until after our first annual convention, right? All right, hearing no motions on the floor, are there any objections? Okay, let's, Secretary Cohn, if you would proceed with the reading of the bylaws, please.
All right. Article 10, affiliates. The board, Section 1, the board may charter as affiliates those organizations requesting such status to represent counties or other geographical entities which combine counties, if requested by affected members and approved by the board. There shall be no geographical overlap between affiliates. Section 2. Organizations applying for charter as affiliates shall make such applications on a standard petition form as adopted by the board. The petition shall include ratification of the statement of principles of this Constitution. The petition and the ratification shall be signed by no fewer than 5 members. Section 3. Every organization so chartered shall submit contact information for their officers or directors, who shall include at least a chair and a treasurer, being separate people. They shall maintain at least 5 members and publish their bylaws to those members, to the state board of directors, and to the county clerks for the counties represented. Section 4. Each affiliate so chartered shall declare, for the purposes of liaison between the party and the chartered affiliate, an affiliate representative. Section 5. Affiliates shall make known to the board the affiliate representative to whom all party business shall be directed. The affiliate representative shall be a party caucus member. Section 6. Affiliates shall be chartered for, but shall not be limited to, the following purposes. A. Nominating candidates for public office. B. Working to elect libertarian candidates and to promote libertarian principles through political information and educational activities. And C. Selecting representatives to appropriate party activities. Section 7. The board shall have the power to revoke the affiliate status of any organization by a 3/4 vote of the current board if said organization supports candidates, policies, or positions inconsistent with the statement of principles of the state party platform, or fails to hold an annual meeting with at least 5 members where officers are elected with contact information and minutes submitted to the state board of directors. 30 days notice by certified mail shall be given to the affiliate representative of the affected affiliate. Section 8. The name of the affiliates representing a county shall be the Free Libertarian Party of County Name County, or other name as may be approved by the board. Section 9. County affiliates shall be affiliated exclusively with the Free Libertarian Party of New Mexico.
Thank you, Secretary Cohn. Do we have any objections to the adoption of Article 10 as read?
It looks like there's a reference to Constitution in there again.
Yep.
And so I move to replace in section 2 the phrase "this Constitution" with "these bylaws."
Is there any objection? Hearing no objection, please make the change, Secretary Cohn. And if you would proceed with the reading of the bylaws.
All right, Article 11.
I'm sorry, just one moment. I do notice a few of our members, Mr. Snoy and maybe others, are not muted. If you would please mute yourself. Thank you. Go ahead, Secretary Cohn.
Article 11, Judicial Committee. Section 1. The Judicial Committee shall consist of 5 party members elected by the delegates in attendance at every odd-year convention. In the case of vacancy, the existing members of the Judicial Committee may vote to fill the vacancy until the next election. The term of each Judicial Committee member shall begin at the adjournment sine die of the business section of the odd-year convention and end at the adjournment sine die of the business section of the next odd-year convention. Section 2. Members of the State Central Committee shall be ineligible to serve on the Judicial Committee. Judicial Committee members must have been members for the past 3 years and shall have signed the Statement of Principles of the National Libertarian Party and a statement disavowing the initiation of force to achieve political or social goals. Section 3. The chair of the Judicial Committee shall be elected by the members of the committee. Section 4. The Judicial Committee shall be limited to hearing and deciding appeals involving the following: suspensions or other disciplinary actions, disaffiliation of chartered affiliates, board or state central committee decisions, and challenges to resolutions or platform planks. Section 5. Only party caucus members may present an appeal to the Judicial Committee. All appeals must be in writing, submitted to the chair of the Judicial Committee within 30 days of the disputed decision. Section 6. All appeals shall be resolved within 60 days of the date of submission to the chair of the Judicial Committee. The chair of the Judicial Committee must present all requests for appellate review to the committee within 5 days of receipt. The committee shall then have 5 days to decide whether or not to hear the appeal, with the agreement of 2 or more Judicial Committee members being sufficient to hold a hearing. The committee chair shall then schedule this hearing to be held within 30 days, with at least 10 days' notice to the membership and all involved parties. Hearings may be virtual or in person. The committee may require written briefs or arguments from the appellants or respondents and may decide to hold additional hearings. Any party caucus member may attend any hearing and submit written briefs or arguments to the committee, which may be considered at the committee's discretion. Section 7. All rulings of the Judicial Committee must be in accordance with these bylaws. Section 8. A verdict must be reached within 5 days of the adjournment of the hearing. A report of the case and its verdict must be uploaded to the party website within 2 business days.
Thank you, Secretary Cohn. Appreciate your endurance there. It's impressive. Well, let me open the floor for discussion on this article. I think there may be 1 or 2 things we want to look at.
Mr. Chair Pro Tem, I know you don't see hands.
Oh, now I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, this is totally up to you guys, but you're going to probably want to look at that 3-year requirement. Again, a lot of these bylaws were taken from bylaws of more established parties. You're not going to have anybody who's been a member for 3 years in March. So you might want to eliminate that 3-year requirement, or an alternative suggestion I stuck in chat, which you may wish to consider, is that for them to be either members of the party or members of the party who have for 3 years, or members of the party who have been national party members for 3 years, if you're trying to get more seasoned people, or just strike that requirement entirely. But otherwise, you won't be able to have a Judicial Committee for 3 years.
Thank you, Secretary, LNC Secretary Harlos. Other comment? Do I have a motion from the floor to strike the requirement cited by Secretary Harlos?
I motion that we strike it.
Second.
Second.
Okay, debate on the motion.
This is for the Judicial Committee, correct?
Yes.
We should have some requirement for seasoned libertarians who know what they're doing. So I would say that there needs to be an amendment that includes National Party members in that requirement. I think Ms. Harlow's suggestion is what should be adopted.
To I guess to be concrete about this, I would move to add the phrase "or National Libertarian Party members" right after the words "have been members" to section 2 of that article. That would be my suggestion.
Okay, the chair calls on Elizabeth Hantz. Elizabeth, Ms. Hantz, you have the floor.
Well, I agree with Ms. Harlow's. I think that there needs to be that change made. And I agree with what's been said as to adopting her suggestion. I think that the last one, who have been members, for the first 3 years, you're not going to get members, right? Because we won't have existed. But so I don't know if putting that in there is necessary. Basically, I think what Ms. Harlow's suggestion, she can correct me if I'm wrong, but that we take out that language, put in, national members, and then after 3 years deal with it, and in changing the bylaws to the way they have originally been. So I would agree with Ms. Harlow's suggestions.
Okay, further debate? Okay, I'll open the floor for motions.
I believe we have a motion on the floor that has been seconded, but I am not sure what that motion is.
Yes, if you have a motion on the floor, would you please state it?
So I had motioned to add the words "or members of the National Libertarian Party" after the words "must have been members" in section 2. That was my motion. I didn't hear a second though.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any debate? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, say no. Hearing no nos, the motion is passed. And Secretary Cohn, would you like to proceed with the reading of the bylaws, or do you want me to take some?
I will proceed with the reading of Article 12. Committees. Section 1. Bylaws and Platform Committee. The Bylaws Committee and the Platform Committee shall each consist of 5 at-large members selected by the SCC and an additional member selected by each chartered affiliate. Only party caucus members are eligible to serve on these committees. The SCC shall solicit applications for the members of the Bylaws Committee as well as the Platform Committee and set the appointment date for these positions by announcement to all party caucus members at least 6 months prior to the convention at which amendments to the platform and bylaws are considered. The SCC shall appoint 5 at-large members at an SCC meeting held at least 1 month after the final solicitation, but no later than 4 months prior to the convention at which amendments to the platform and bylaws are considered. If any subsequent vacancies occur in the initially appointed at-large positions, the SCC may select members to fill the vacancies. The SCC shall select the committee chairs from the members of each committee. Each chartered affiliate may appoint 1 member to each committee. Should an affiliate not appoint a committee member, the SCC may appoint an additional at-large member at the time of committee formation. The SCC shall solicit 1 committee member from each chartered affiliate on the same schedule implemented by the SCC pursuant, and at its meeting for appointment of the members of the committees, it shall confirm such committee members if a committee member appointed by an affiliate resigns from a committee or fails to attend 2 consecutive committee votes, the affiliate may appoint a replacement. Committees shall submit their final reports to the SCC for publication to the party caucus membership no later than 6 weeks before the convention. These reports shall be available in their complete form to any party caucus member upon request. The party chair shall ensure that the committee's reports and any reports of committee members submitted separately are presented at the convention. Section 2. Other committees. Such other committees, standing or special, shall be appointed by the SCC, or convention delegates shall from time to time deem necessary to carry out the work of the party. Section 3. National Committee representatives and alternates. Representatives and alternates to national party committees and subcommittees, excluding regional representatives and alternates to the Libertarian National Committee, shall be elected by one of the following methods. If the number of representatives to the national party committees is known at the time of the convention, and the committees are to convene after the convention delegates shall elect the committee representatives and alternates in the same manner as, and immediately after the election of national convention delegates. Otherwise, the SCC shall elect the committee representatives.
Thank you, Secretary Cohn. Are there any objections to Article 12 as read? All right, hearing no objection, Secretary Cohn, would you please proceed with the reading of the last 3 articles? They're very short. We'll just read them all.
There are 4 articles remaining. Or no, wait. Yeah, there are 4 articles remaining.
You're right. Go ahead. Yeah, if you just read all 4.
Okay. Article 13, Parliamentary Authority. The rules contained in the current edition of Robert's Rules of Order, newly revised, shall govern the party in all cases to which they are applicable, and in which they are not inconsistent with these bylaws, any standing rules, and any special rules of order the party or the SCC of directors may adopt. Article 14, Dissolution. Dissolution of the party shall require a 2/3 vote of the delegates in annual convention. Section 2, Amendment of this article shall require a 2/3 vote of the delegates in annual convention. Article 15, Amendment of Platform and Bylaws. Section 1, Amendment of Bylaws. These bylaws may be amended by a 2/3 vote of the delegates to an annual or state convention, provided the amendment is included in the annual report or a minority report of the Bylaws Committee, or written notice, including the formal language of the amendment and signed by 2 party caucus members, is provided to the SCC at least 30 days prior to the convention. Such notice shall be posted to the party's website within 2 business days of receipt. Section 2, Amendment of Statement of Principles. The statement of principles contained within these bylaws or this section can only be amended by a vote of 7/8 of delegates at an annual convention, with the exception of renumbering or other sheerly technical changes. Section 3, Amendment of State Platform. The party may adopt or amend by a 2/3 vote of the delegates to the annual convention a platform stating its position on all political issues affecting the state or any constituent entity thereof, provided the amendment is included in the annual report or a minority report of the Platform Committee, or written notice including the formal language of the amendment and signed by 2 party caucus members is provided to the SCC at least 30 days prior to the convention. Such notice shall be posted to the party's website within 2 business days of receipt. Article 16, Severability. If any article, section, or clause of these bylaws is to any extent determined to be invalid, illegal, or incapable of being enforced, such article, section, or clause shall be excluded only to the extent of such invalidity, illegality, or unenforceability. All other articles, sections, and clauses hereof shall remain in full force and effect, and to this end, the provisions of these bylaws are declared to be severable.
Thank you, Secretary Cohn. Are there any objections to the articles as read? I saw one phrase in there under Article 13, kind of just an awkward phrase at the very end of the paragraph. It says the SCC of directors. That's redundant. If we could just change that to SCC. Are there any?
Seconded.
Without objection? Secretary Cohn, please make that change. Hearing no other objections, the entire set of bylaws and provisos is now open to amendment. Are there any further amendments? Okay, the
I'm gonna hand
question.
up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Mr. Brown.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I'm not necessarily suggesting this should be changed now, but something that should be kept in mind for your upcoming convention. I discussed this briefly before the meeting with Secretary Harlos, and these bylaws actually do not name or define officers. It simply lists directors and includes officers within directors. And for your next convention, I suggest that you consider clarifying that, specifying whether the officers are officers, or it's just everyone directors, or are all directors officers, and also specifying whether or not the vice chair automatically becomes chair in the event of a vacancy. So we don't have the same situation National had when Joe Bishop Henchman resigned. Your bylaws don't address that. It would default to Robert's Rules of Order. Robert's Rules says the vice chair or vice president automatically becomes president, but your bylaws actually don't even define officers. I don't see that as fatal now, but I would suggest it's something that you should consider taking up at your annual convention.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Thank you very much, and for your obvious careful attention to what we're doing here. Okay. Are there any further amendments? The question is now on the adoption of the bylaws as amended. We will have a voice vote. All in favor of the adoption of the bylaws as amended, please say aye.
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 Nay.
All opposed to the adoption of the bylaws as amended, please say no. Okay. The bylaws are adopted and they take effect immediately. I would like to just congratulate this body on the work we've just done. I believe that this is an important step forward for the protection and furtherance of liberty in New Mexico, in the country, and in the world. We're now going to recess to enroll members as provided for in the bylaws. The LNC secretary will now read the initial roll of members, as well as any national party members who are entitled to vote on the initial directors for the Free Libertarian Party of New Mexico. Madam LNC secretary, you have the floor.
Well, actually, the national party members are entitled to vote on the directors, but people who are not national party members will need to sign up as party caucus members, meaning they will need to pledge to pay dues and sign the non-aggression pledge. And also any national party members can certainly join the party at this time. So what I believe we should do with the members who are present, I have their email address, is we take a short recess. I will send out via Adobe eSign the form to pledge to pay dues and become a party caucus member. You can set a certain minimum amount of time for that to get accomplished, and then we can come back and I can then give you the list of people who are entitled to vote.
Great. Okay, how much time would you suggest we recess for?
Well, I believe, and we could always, if we recess and it's not complete, we could always move to extend that. I have all of the email addresses noted of the New Mexico residents who are present, but I do have questions on 4 people present, whether or not they are New Mexico residents, because they're not National Party members, so I don't know them. So if Bob Wagner, Kate McElroy, John McDivitt, and James Clayton can clarify whether or not they are New Mexico residents. If they are, I'll add them to this Adobe e-sign form.
John McDivitt, I'm a New Mexico resident and a member of the National Party.
You are, as I said in chat, Mr. McDivitt, I have the records from the National Party members as of October 13th, 2022, who reside in New Mexico. Your name does not appear on that.
My membership card says it expires 12/24/2022.
I can only go by my official records. Because I'm not trying to question you at all, but without it being on the National Register, for all we knew, you could have rescinded your membership. I'm not saying you did. I'm only saying that the membership card isn't necessarily determinative. I don't have a record. Could your last name be somehow different? Or if you want to give me maybe the first 3 digits of your mailing address, and I can do a search that way to see if you're on this list, maybe misspelled or something.
309.
Okay, give me 1 second. I'm going to do a search through the spreadsheet for 309.
That's in Albuquerque.
Okay, let me look. I don't have anyone with an address that begins with 309. I have a 3309, but no addresses that begin with 309 on the National Party membership list.
So what do we do? My card says I'm a member. I renew every year.
I can only go by what my National Party records are. This is going to be up to the body here, not me.
When I originally signed up for this, Karen Ann couldn't find me either. I emailed her just a copy of the receipt I received when I paid, and she was able to find me through that. Do you have that available?
Do I have it available? I think I paid online. I didn't send a check or anything.
Oh, great. So then check your email for anything that came from the LNC, and you should have a receipt for that online.
All
And
right.
Antonio, I did eventually find you in the national record, so that's how you got confirmed.
This is James Clayton, and I am a resident of New Mexico. I didn't meet the deadline, so I'm just a guest today, but I am a resident and I am a National Party member.
Okay, thank you. Bob Wagner and Kat McElroy.
Kat McElroy, I'm not a resident of New Mexico.
Okay, so I will take you off that list. Bob, I don't know if Bob Wagner is even still here. He is not. So I've got everyone taken care of. So Mr. Chair, I would suggest a recess of 20 minutes. And Mr. McDivitt, just to know, if you sign up to be a party caucus member, the issue of your National Party membership will be irrelevant. But this body's going to have to make that kind of determination if for some reason you don't wish to sign up as a party caucus member, but still wish to vote. That's not my call. But Mr. Chair, I think 20 minutes should be sufficient. We can come back in 20 minutes. And if there's some kind of technical issue or we need more time, we could always extend.
Right. Thank you. We will recess until 2:30. We'll keep this meeting. This Zoom thing will stay open. Please stay connected. Remember, you may want to mute.
We have a hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Elizabeth, you have the floor.
Yes, I believe Mr. Blessing is asking Mr. McKinney in chat if his address is still in Alabama. As according to the Secretary of State's website, in the primary, he made a political donation listing that as his place of residence. So that is a concern to us also.
Thank you, Ms. Hans.
I just addressed that in the chat, but under the Uniform Services Federal Voting Act, I'm a legal New Mexico elector in the city of Albuquerque, New Mexico, at 12904 Mountain View Avenue. Currently, I reside out of state in that my wife is in the military and we are currently stationed here. But my voting, my legal voting address is in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Secretary Harlos, what are the rules?
It is up to this body to interpret its own bylaws and to determine if Mr. McKinney is considered a resident of the state of New Mexico as anticipated by your bylaws. Each body interprets their own bylaws. I think probably reasonable arguments could be made both ways. So that is going to be, first, it would probably be up to you. Well, you're chair pro tem for this meeting, pursuant to the proviso through the end. So I think it would be up to you to make a ruling on those things. And then if somebody disagrees, they can appeal from the ruling of the chair. But ultimately, it's up to this body to make those decisions.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I will assume the prerogative of ruling from the chair that actual residence is clearly intended by the bylaws, and that therefore Mr. McKinney is ineligible.
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Yes.
With regards to military spouses voting, when they vote normally, are they, do they normally vote in New Mexico? Even if they're out of state? That was my experiences when I was in the military, was that my votes counted in New Mexico, even if I did not reside there. But I do not know how that was for spouses.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that question.
I mean, I can answer that for you. The Bernalillo County Clerk very kindly emailed me my ballot, being a military spouse, and I filled it out and have sent it back to them. Same issue with renewing my concealed carry license. I called the office and they very nicely mailed my renewal to me.
I think
so I request an appeal of the chair's decision. That this is ridiculous. I mean, you're disenfranchising our military personnel.
Well, military has nothing to do with it. I mean, there's nothing.
Yeah, it does.
There's nothing in our bylaws about military. Nothing. The word doesn't appear. So what does appear is residence. So if we would like to have a vote,
There needs to be a second, Mr. Chair Pro Tem, on any appeal of the ruling.
Okay.
I second the appeal. I second it.
Okay.
And then there can be debate first, but each member only gets to speak once, and the chair can open the debate and close the debate.
Okay. The chair opens the debate by calling on Ms. Hans.
Yes, I would argue that the bylaws lean toward an interpretation of actual residence, people residing within the state. And so therefore I would ask that it be limited to those who are actually residing in the state.
Thank you, Ms. Hantz. And now I call on Nathaniel Banks.
You are violating the NAP in this regard because you are forcing him to have no shelter politically, no affiliation. He can't affiliate with any of the local parties in the state of Alabama because he's not an Alabama resident. So you are violating the NAP in this regard and forcing him to political homelessness.
Thank you, Mr. Banks. Now I call on Mr. Eric Jardine.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it's just common sense to let them be apart. Just because someone's spouse is serving and they have to travel doesn't mean their home isn't New Mexico. I may have to travel, and I'll always consider New Mexico my home.
Thank you, Mr. Jardine. I have a hand up from Carrie Baldwin. Carrie, Ms. Baldwin.
As a veteran of the U.S. Air Force and also a fan of Ron Paul and all the veterans who saw what Ron Paul was doing and what he advocated for, I absolutely think McKinney is valid and his vote should count.
Thank you, Ms. Baldwin. Mr. Lucchini, you have the floor.
The federal government defines the word resident with respect to voting here. If you maintain the ruling of the chair, you are violating your own bylaws with respect to honoring the laws of this. Well, the state also has a similar law with respect to military and military spouses. So you can do what you want, but you will be in violation of your own bylaws by sustaining the ruling of the chair. By the way, I believe that Ms. Elisheva Levin is an actual physical resident of, I believe, Arizona, even though she maintains voting status in New Mexico, because I believe she has multiple properties. So if we want to get into the GPS location of all the people who claim to voter registration in New Mexico, we can go down that road.
Thank you, Mr. Lucchini. I call on Mr. Rhett Trapman.
I just wanted to speak in favor of your ruling. I think that the people that are going to be participating need to be physically located in New Mexico. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trapman.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I just have a question. I do not have Elisheva I'm sorry, I'm tired. I don't have Ms. Levin as qualified. If I don't know if then if overturning your, I would ask you as I'm sending out this emails, if overturning your ruling would then also make her qualified. Because just so for everyone's reference, I do not have her as qualified for the reasons that people have already stated, but perhaps that's something else that needs to be resolved.
She's not military.
I'm just, somebody brought her up. That's the only reason I'm even saying a word. I want to just know who to send this email to. That's all I care about.
Okay.
Well, and this is Elizabeth, and Elisheva owns a ranch in New Mexico. She maintains her residency in New Mexico. And so unlike Mr. McKinney, who does not maintain a residence in New Mexico.
I own 2 properties in the city of Albuquerque. Thank you very much.
Well, then maybe we're talking about a different animal then. Would you elaborate more on that?
Betsy, Ms. Hantz, I mean, do you have an issue with federal election law? I mean, you know law much better than I do.
It's not federal election law, it's our bylaws is where we're.
Oh, I get that. But as Nate said, I can't exactly be a member of LP Alabama because I'm not registered to vote here.
All right. So as our parliamentarian stated, Mr. Brown, it is for the chair to close the debate. I believe at this point, everybody's had at least one, who's wanted to, has had at least one chance to speak, and most of us have spoken twice. So I'm going to go ahead and call the question. Do I need, I would ask our parliamentarian at this point, what are my choices? Mr. Brown?
Yes, if and everyone actually only was entitled to speak once, you may close and, I mean, you may speak and debate again yourself as chair, But the proper way of putting the question, if you do not desire to speak again in debate, is shall the ruling of the chair be sustained? And then all those in favor vote yes, all those opposed vote no. It requires a majority vote to overturn your ruling. If it's a tie vote, your ruling is sustained.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. So all those in favor of sustaining the chair's ruling, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
No.
No.
Hell no. Hell no.
Okay, so the chair's ruling is overturned and Paul McKinney is instated as a voter. Okay, next item, let's see.
It would be the recess, Mr. Chair.
Yes. Yes, so we stand in recess until 2:45.
Okay, everyone, expect an email. If you're a New Mexico resident with an opportunity to pledge to join the new organization. If when we get back from recess, you didn't get the Adobe e-sign, I can always send one to you quickly. It's kind of difficult managing the Zoom room with everyone, but just let me know when we get back, and I'm starting to send the emails now.
A point of order. Is it required? So I understand from the conversation that if you're a national member, it's not required to pledge a donation.
That is correct. If you're a National Party member residing in New Mexico as of October 13th, you'll get the form, just throw it out if you don't wish.
Yeah, I think this whole voting thing based on that's a little questionable, Ms. Harless. It's just getting to vote based on pledges is fraught with.
Sir, this is your bylaws. Please direct that to the chair.
Fair.
Mr. Snoy?
Yes.
Yes,
Well,
did you have something?
yeah, same thing to you. It's, I think just requiring eligibility to vote based on pledges is highly questionable, and you know, it's really not ethical even.
Okay, well, I understand that you think that eligibility to vote based on pledges is not a correct procedure.
We have a raised hand.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Snoy. Mr. Brown, you have the floor.
It's my understanding from, if I recall your bylaws correctly, that you just adopted that the pledge is sufficient for purposes of this meeting. Or perhaps Ms. Harlow can speak to that also.
The bylaws say you need to be a New Mexico member who signs the non-initiation of force pledge and also pledges to pay their organizational dues by January 1st, 2023. Those are the bylaws requirements.
I can reread that whole proviso if anyone wants to hear it.
Maybe we can just direct Mr. Snoy to the proviso to Article 4.
That's correct.
Yes, that is the proviso. That's the proviso under which we are operating, having adopted these bylaws.
Correct, that you only need to be a national member.
Correct. And everyone will have an opportunity, if they so choose, if they live in New Mexico, to join this organization. But if you're a National Party member residing in New Mexico as of October 13th, you have no obligation to do so.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair Pro Tem, you need to declare us in recess and tell everybody what time to return.
Okay,
I also had a quick question, if I may.
I did do that.
Okay, sorry.
We are in recess until 2:45. Mr. Trapman, you're welcome to ask any questions, but we are not in an official meeting context. This would be informal.
Understood. Question about this. So national members technically don't have to pledge, but the money that would be pledged would be going to the new organization to help us get off the ground. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chairman, I want to say it has been a very well-run meeting, and I congratulate you folks. I think you guys have done an excellent job. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. That means a lot to me.
And if Mr. Chair Pro Tem is here, just an FYI, Adobe is being a little bit fussy and is making me do all of these one at a time rather than sending it in bulk. So
Oh, yeah, I am so sorry.
it's no price, just it would be a lot quicker to
Yeah.
do it in bulk, but it might, I mean, some people should be getting them already, but I am having to do them one at a time.
Yeah, I was going to ask you because I didn't see one yet. So, okay.
Yeah,
Thanks
no, I
for letting
haven't
me know what's going on.
I haven't gotten to you yet.
That's okay.
I'm right now on Tony. He should be getting his in a few minutes.
I am eagerly awaiting.
And a few people again, like Tyler, you should have gotten yours.
You're referring to the dues pledge.
Yeah, the Adobe e-sign.
I signed it.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm hoping it sends me prompt. It looks like it's sending me prompt notification.
Is this pledge about dues or about the non-aggression principle?
It's both.
Okay, I'm pretty sure I did those.
This would have been a couple minutes ago.
No, but I did mine a couple weeks ago, something before the 14th.
That's to the national party. This is a requirement of the state party.
Oh, I did that back in July.
There is no state party presently, so that's not possible. You might be referring
Well, to the previous party
Yeah.
that's disaffiliated and
Yeah, that doesn't count for this group.
okay.
Oh, so so I'm a paid member to national, so I don't have to worry about this, right?
Define, I'm hesitant to speak too much here. This isn't my group.
Well, let me take this one.
Okay, thank you.
Go to work. Eric, so if you want to join this new group, you'll need to sign the pledge. Right? So whatever you've done with national or any other group doesn't count here. For this group, you need to do the pledge.
Oh, okay. I
A member of this group.
But do I have to pay more money? Do I have to pay, like, do I have to pay right now for this group? Do I have to like pay $25 right now for it?
No, it's a pledge to pay no later than January 1st, 2023.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much then.
You're welcome.
So I received the email.
Well, I'm getting all kinds of confirmations that of signatures, so I know people are getting it, but it's slow going because I have to put in an email individually and then specify on this form individually all of the blanks that need to be filled out. So I'm having a lot of fun right now.
Karen Ann, should I be receiving one of these emails?
Yeah, but I probably not to you yet.
Okay.
Who is
Oh,
this?
you haven't sent them all out
This
yet?
was Rudy. This is Rudy. Yeah.
I haven't gotten to you yet. No, I have to do them individually. So
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry.
She has to send one at a time, folks. So you just be patient. She will get to you.
I've sent out about 10 so far, and that's not halfway through.
Frank, John McDivitt is in the waiting room. You may want to admit him.
I do it.
Oh, thank you.
I think it's really stupid that Adobe won't allow me to do this in bulk. I do have a pro account, like it's not like I'm trying to chintz out here or anything.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Brown.
While we're in recess, I just wondered if you or if any other members have questions about the comments I made regarding the fact that your bylaws do not actually name the officers. But that's actually an RO&R requirement, a Robert's Rules requirement, but you don't, let me rephrase it. You can do almost anything you want to in your own bylaws. And your bylaws do not name or define any officers. They just simply list the chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer among the directors without
Right.
specifying who, if anyone, your officers are. And that could be problematic in the future. And also you might want to specify whether or not the vice chair automatically becomes chair, and it's your call which way you want it to be.
Right. Well, thanks for recapitulating that. I certainly concur with you on both points. And I will make a note to bring that up at our next convention, or to
Or
the
meeting of the,
actually to the bylaws committee. Yeah.
I could tell you, Mr. Brown, in Colorado, we don't specify officers either. There's quite a few state parties that don't, because there isn't a body within the body, so there isn't like an executive committee. So at least in Colorado, I don't know what New Mexico wants to decide, but at least in Colorado, we had decided it wasn't necessary to create a different class of director. It served no purpose. But I can tell you now, after the events of last year, there certainly is a purpose when it comes to trying to remove somebody. So that's certainly something to consider that we're going to be fixing in Colorado's bylaws, but we're going to fix that by defining the terms of office differently, not by creating officers.
I'm sorry, Mr. Brown, I'm a little tired here. Define officers, and what was the second one?
Successorship in the event.
Oh, right,
of vacancy in
successorship.
the chair.
Yes.
Under Robert's Rules, if you have officers, and then almost every organization does. Some of the Libertarian affiliates may be different, but under Robert's Rules, unless your bylaws specify otherwise, in the event of a vacancy in the office of president or chair, the vice chair automatically becomes chair. That's the issue. The problem we had when Joe Bishop Henchman resigned was whether or not Ken Melman actually became chair, or was he merely acting chair, and that almost became an issue at the national convention. And most of the Libertarian Party bylaws that I have seen, at least the more recent ones, some specify specifically that the vice chair does become chair, and some say just the opposite, that he, and they usually do it by either saying that vacancies in office including chair, or vacancies in office excluding chair, shall be filled by the executive board or the state central committee. Just those two words, including chair or excluding chair, take care of that problem. And just a judgment call whichever way you want it to be.
Yeah.
We probably should do that in Colorado as well, because ours don't say that.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems common sense to specify successorship.
I could tell you our understanding, at least so far, I don't know what future boards are going to do, but our understanding so far in Colorado is that the vice chair becomes the chair.
Right. That's the only way I've ever heard of it working.
Well, National decided something different.
Something else, huh? Yeah.
I think they were wrong, and it was definitely appealable, but nobody chose to.
Are you still sending out emails?
Oh yeah, I haven't gotten to
Okay.
you yet. I'm at
All right.
Patty Maloney right now.
No problem.
I'm about halfway through.
I think in the Louisiana bylaws, I believe specified that the vice chair does become chair. I believe the Texas bylaws are just the opposite. I think California is the opposite. I actually don't recall, but that they address it specifically, that there's no doubt what happens with their bylaws.
Mr. Chair, I don't know whether this was decided, and if not, I can send a form and then the body can decide. But is Ella Shiba 11 qualified or not qualified?
Well, we're in recess, so I can't give you a ruling of the chair.
I would think so based on what we kind of came up with there, but I don't know.
I mean, I could always send her a form and we can disregard it.
Yeah, let's do that, and I will consider a ruling once we
She might not sign it, so, you know, it might turn out to be moot. You should be getting yours any second now.
I got it.
Okay, I am now on Mr. McKinney, if other people are trying to keep track of where I'm at. It's not, it is somewhat alphabetical. There's a few that aren't in alphabetical order, but most of them are. I can tell you, I'm going to send a sternly worded email to Adobe. I'm going to Karen them. I want to talk to somebody's manager right now. We probably are going to have to extend recess slightly.
Yeah,
because-
I'll take care of that at 2:45.
Yeah, because then we're gonna have to read aloud who did sign. I
So
am
I've got-
on Lynn Panetta right now. This reminds me of the 2020 convention where I had to send out each of the states' ballot tally sheets separately.
So I filled out the whole form, but I don't see like a submit button or anything.
When you fill it out completely, at the bottom of the page, it should say click to sign in a blue button is what I saw.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I see. Well, maybe I need to.
Did you miss a part of the form maybe, or?
It says required fields completed.
Yeah, and then there should be a blue click to sign button in that little pop-up at the bottom of the screen or window. No?
Well, I'm going to refresh and see what happens.
And I can always send it to you again.
Yeah.
I expect there'll be a few people that will have some technical.
Okay. So the announced recess is over, and I'm extending that recess for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. What do you recommend? 15?
I recommend 15 just because.
Okay. We're extending the recess until 3 o'clock.
And I am doing work as I'm talking. I can do both. So I'm furiously getting these out.
Okay, there you go.
And I will be forwarding these signed forms as onto whoever is elected secretary once that happens for the organization's records. Mr. Trapman, I'm on you now. I'm filling it out right at this moment, just so you guys get an idea of where I am at.
On my form, the name was blank and it didn't allow me to enter it. Is that going to be an issue?
When you input the signature, Deborah, when you input your signature, when you type in your name for your signature, it'll populate the name full. It should populate the name. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. The other thing, there was a field asking if you could receive text on your phone, but there was no way to answer that.
I couldn't either. So
Okay.
I just assume that's we'll deal with that later.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure. I didn't look at it, I guess, after I had done the signature. So
It could be, you know, a dope, because I put that as a text box, but you know.
yeah, I just want to make sure it wouldn't invalidate the form. But if it populated it based on the signature, then that's cool.
Okay, right. It decided to freeze on you, but now it's good again. The secretary, when they get these, can follow up with folks as to whether they'll want to receive text or not. I would assume the default would be no, unless you put yes. I mean, I think that's the law, that you have to opt into text.
I much prefer them to phone calls.
I think that's everybody today. When my phone rings, I'm like, do you think I got a phone to talk to people? Are you out of your mind?
Well, I like to talk to people, but if they're just sending out info or whatever, I would prefer that coming in a text. I guess I should.
My phone does this wonderful thing where it says scam likely when people call me now.
Oh yeah. Almost everything I get is scam likely recently, it seems.
I do have in the chat, Laura Burrows has indicated she hasn't received the pledge email, just FYI.
Yes, she's going to be towards the bottom because she wasn't present at the time I started this process. So I'm going to be catching up on, I'm not meaning this word at all disparagingly, the stragglers at the end.
Got it. Thank you.
Because I created this list of emails at the very beginning of the meeting. So I have to go back to later ones.
Mr. Chair, for the benefit of the New Mexico members, I just checked the California and Texas bylaws and Oklahoma, and they all three state that that their executive committees, by whatever name they use, fills the vacancy in the office of chair. That the vice chair does not automatically become chair, whereas in Louisiana, he does become chair automatically, and in some other states, he becomes chair automatically.
So in the states where the vice chair does not become chair automatically, what procedure do they use to replace a lost chairman or chair?
their state central committee or executive committee or whatever they call it fills the vacancy the same way they would fill other vacancies. In different states, some states have a state central committee, some don't. Um, um, they go by different names. It would be the governing body. In your case, it would be, I guess it could be your board. I don't know if I think your board fills vacancies in the New Mexico bylaws.
Yes.
That's rather than the state central committee. Yeah, okay. Well,
yeah, I remember specifically looking at that point, and it's the executive committee, or the board, not the state central committee.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, 1 second. I am getting towards the end, but not quite there yet. Ms. Burrows, I'm going to be getting you in a moment. I'll let you know when it's sent.
It looks like Mr. Trapman has the same issue.
He should have just gotten his.
Great.
He was out of the room when I said I was sending it, which was right as he was coming into the room.
Yeah, I just got it. It'll be signed shortly.
Okay, let me get Ms. Burrows. And Elizabeth, have you gotten yours yet?
Yes, I did, and
Okay.
I filled it out and sent it.
Okay, I haven't looked at which one. I just saw in chat and I'm just doing some follow-ups here. Okay, Ms. Burrows, you should have yours in 1 moment. Richard Gurry, I see your private question to me in chat about national dues. If you could please email me about that. I can't do that in this meeting. It's just too much going on.
Well, by the way, Mr. Chair, Ms. Harlos is probably much more familiar with the state affiliate bylaws in general than I am. I have only examined those where I've been specifically retained to or asked to, and I think she's probably seen many more than I have.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, she has shared some of what she's seen with me and with the bylaws committee, and it's been very helpful, and so have you.
This is John McDivitt. I've received my email, but I can't seem to manipulate any of the fields on it.
Are you doing it on your phone or?
No, I'm on my computer. It's a Mac.
Well, it should work on a Mac because I'm on a Mac. You have excellent taste.
You know, I'm on a Mac as well, Mr. McDivitt, and I actually was using Brave as my browser, and I switched over to Safari, and that worked.
Well, I'm on Safari.
Oh, you are.
I can resend it to you. 1 second here. I'm doing one other thing.
Mr. McDivitt, what field are you trying to fill out, or if any?
I'm trying to click where it says start. You know, where it says sign, and I get nothing. Nothing happens.
That is different from what I observed in my case. So yeah, we may have to.
I believe there's
figure this out.
I believe there's a permission he has to click OK somewhere on there.
There was, yes, there was a little thing that popped up on the bottom that I had to click
Right.
Yes, to go forth.
I had to hit continue.
All right, I'm hitting it now. Okay, maybe this is gonna work. Okay, I think so. Got it.
Okay, as far as I know, they have all been sent.
Maybe we could just have a hand raise of anybody who has not yet received one.
That is expecting to, right?
If you haven't received an email offering Mr. Hust, so you haven't received one? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Who hasn't?
Mr. Daniel Hust.
Okay, 1 second. I will get one out to you.
This is John McDiv again. Mine should be there now because it went.
Okay. What I'm going to do, because Adobe is just being so much fun to me right now, Mr. Chair, when we come in, I'm probably just going to have to read aloud, which we have to do anyway, each name individually, the ones we have signed. Your Secretary Pro Tem for the meeting will need to take note of it for the records, because you would think Adobe would give me this nice, neat list of all the ones sent that have been signed, but Adobe decided I don't need that. And that's really nice of Adobe to decide that. It's making me click on each one individually the way I sent it, which is fun.
I should be able to take those names down when you have them.
Okay. Because I do have emails, like my email box is full of emails that say, dues pledge has been sent out to signature to, and it says the email address. And for me to see whether it's signed or not, it's making me click on each of these emails. It's not even sending me an email back. Oh, it is on some of them. This is weird. More of you have said you've signed it, and I've only gotten 3 emails saying it's signed. I've got confirmation, though I'm going to have to look at the document to make sure, from Patricia Maloney, John McDivitt, Nate Banks. No one else have I gotten. Oh, and Maggie Shepard. Now just Rhett Trapman. Okay, I'll just start when we're called to order. We'll take care of it.
Okay, the recess period is up. Do you need more time?
No, they're all sent.
They're all sent. Okay. So what I'm looking at here is that you would now be reading the initial roll of members
that have signed the pledge. And Daniel Hoos noted correctly in chat that if you're a National Party member as of October 13th residing in New Mexico, you are automatically a voting member. You do not need to sign the pledge. So in other words, everyone we read at the beginning of this meeting, and who's been credentialed, and any that signed this that weren't read at the beginning, if that makes sense,
right.
are, and where this is really going to come into play is if we have to do a roll call vote for anything, right. if a voice vote's not conclusive or whatever. So we will need to have these names down, but I'm ready whenever you are.
So one such person that would be eligible to vote at this point that wasn't earlier is Maggie Shepard.
Correct. I'm going to go to that credentials spreadsheet. I'm going to add a column that's going to say qualified. I'm just going to put qualified, and I'm going to put a yes by all the people that are National Party members and present already. And then we'll see if there's any additional names we need to add. Rudy, do you have access to that credentials sheet? Because that will help you as I'm reading names.
I might. Give me just a second. Let's see if I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're on the permissions list.
Yeah, I'm just not super great on Google. I have a bunch of stuff on my screen, and I'm trying to figure out how to get to where I'm going.
You want me to send you a link?
No, I think I'm there. Give me just a second. It is credentialing. Is that the document I'm looking for?
Yes.
All right,
And you'll see
I'm opening it right now.
You'll see column F says qualified. So
Yes.
And everyone who is bold is people who are here.
Okay.
So the people who are here are national party members, I automatically put a yes. We might read their name again as signing the dues pledge, but that's irrelevant to their qualification. But if I read out a name in which there is not already a yes, if you add a yes, that will be an easy way for you to, does that make sense?
I think so. We'll have to try it and see what happens.
Okay. Okay, so I am ready. Let me go, and I'm going to read out the ones who have signed, but I do need to pull it up to make sure that it's in fact signed. Not that I think anyone here would, say they signed, send it as signed when it wasn't, but it's my duty. So Nathaniel Banks.
Okay.
Let's see here. Let me look at I'm gonna pull this up. This is a little slow going because I do have to do it.
No, let's go slow. This is fine. What I'll be doing is I'll be typing down the names and checking to see if the qualified column is populated as you go.
Patricia Maloney. John McDivitt.
McDivitt. Okay.
This one, my computer is not being the fastest today. James Clayton.
Okay.
I have some people that emailed back that they're not going to sign it. You don't need to do that. Just don't sign it if you're not going to. Because I'm getting a ton of emails, so I'm just trying to cut down on that. Maggie Shepard.
Got it.
Rhett Trapman.
Got it.
Aurelio Gallardo.
Got it.
Pulling up the next one. One sec.
No rush.
Yeah, you know me, I'm always trying to be Speedy Gonzalez. Devin Rivera.
Rivera. Got it.
Aaron Pearls.
What was that last name again?
Pearls, P-E-R-L-S.
Got it.
Frank Martin.
Okay, got that one.
Lynn Pinedo.
Got it.
Andrew Kennedy.
Got it?
Oh, you want to know who I haven't set out to? I don't know if she's here. And maybe the chair could make a ruling, but I don't even see if she's here. I didn't send one to Elizabeth. I mean, Elishaiba.
Elishaiba?
Yeah, Elishaiba 11. So the chair will need to direct me on that. Just so you know, I have not sent one to her yet. Elizabeth Hans, for you. I have that signed.
Got it?
Hold on, I think. Okay, no, there's more. I have yours. I just need to pull it up and make sure you actually signed it, Rudy.
I think I did.
I'm sure you did. I'm just yanking your chain. Yes, Rudy Cohen.
Got it?
Eric Jardine.
Got it? Elizabeth Hans is in the waiting room?
Yeah, I got that. People keep getting, you know how Zoom is.
Bumped. Yeah, Zoom is fun.
1 second. Mike Blessing.
Yep, got him.
There's still more.
I know.
Yeah, I know. Tom Fachan.
Can you spell that last name?
Fachan.
Oh, okay. Fachan. Thank you. Got him.
I'm probably mangling quite a few.
That's fine. It sounded like a B starting name when you said it the first time.
It's actually Fashan, but
Fashan. Okay.
Don't worry about
Fancy.
it. No, it shouldn't be fancy.
Richard Gurry.
Yep, got him.
Don Bruckner.
Got him.
If some of you were signed earlier are wondering why you're being called later, as I'm going backwards on my email. So don't sweat it if your name hasn't been called yet. Deborah Beatty.
Hey, you got my name right.
Yay! For once, God, I know I'm killing people's names.
You get a gold star for mine.
And if you all got an email saying that the document was from a Karen Dos Santos, that's my maiden name, if you're wondering what that's all about. Antonio DeGidio. Shows you how long I've had this Adobe account.
Your chair is going to excuse himself for 2 minutes.
Okay, there'll be at least a Rebecca Clark.
All right.
Okay, I'm just scrolling down.
No, let's go nice and slow. We don't want to miss anybody.
Tyler Askin.
All right.
Carrie Baldwin.
Okay.
And that is all the signatures that have been sent to me. Did anyone sign and their name wasn't called? Good job.
I have 24 names. Does that match your number?
I moved the emails as I called them out because my email box was crowded.
Oh, that's fair.
I'm sure. I mean, that certainly sounds about right. Plus, there are additional people who are National Party members, such as Mr. Hughes, Mr. Whaleby or Walesley. I'm sorry, I don't have your name in front of me. Who indicated they will not be signing, but they were National Party members.
Okay. So Aurelio, I just saw you in the chat. We have you on the list, so you're good.
Okay, it looks like I have everybody. I am going to pull up, and I'm going to send to Elishaiba, but it will be up for you guys to decide whether or not that's valid. I just want to do that to get it out of the way.
As a point of information, was she ever on this Zoom meeting?
She was, I have, I admitted her. She was on by phone. And if you scroll up in chat, you could see she was inquiring how she could get on the mic. She was on by phone though.
Thank you.
Okay, so our two secretaries, you're at the conclusion of your business. Is that correct?
Except for, I'm waiting for a decision on Ms. Levin.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to make a ruling of the chair. That Ella Sheva Levin be allowed to vote.
If she signs.
If she signs the pledge. Yeah. So do I have an appeal?
She's not a national member? I thought she was already a national member.
She's a national member, but chose to be a national member. Wait, hold on. Let me look. Good question.
The issue is a residency or something like
I
that.
think she's a national member and that.
Yeah, I mean, look, the reason I brought it.
Delegate allocations to another state.
Right. So, which is irrelevant for this. The only reason I brought it up was the McKinney situation. I'm aware that she owns multiple properties in multiple states, but she has residence here. So I don't think there's any objection to her being considered a voting member, at least not for me.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah, I think it makes sense to use that legal definition.
And this is Elizabeth. I've spoken with her because we were trying to get her on with the Zoom. And much like me, she's technologically challenged. And but she's moving into an apartment here in Albuquerque because she works with the Health Sciences Center. She works here, she lives here, she owns property here, she's a resident.
Okay, so hearing no objection, what I'd like to do is suggest that we move on. And
well, the result of the motion is that Karen Ann, you should send her one.
I did. I sent her one.
Okay, good.
Okay, so next up is the election of the initial chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer of the Free Libertarian Party of New Mexico. First to be elected as chair. Are there any nominations?
I nominate Frank Martin.
I nominate Andrew Kennedy.
I nominate Frank Martin.
It's already been nominated, so your second nomination would be a second of his nomination then?
Well, there's no seconding required for nominations.
That's
yes,
right, yeah.
No seconding required for nominations here. So we have two nominations so far, Frank Martin and Andrew Kennedy. Are there any further nominations?
And Mr. Chair Pro Tem, I neglected to add to the notes I gave to you where the organizers did talk about, of course, it's up to you guys, the possibility of having the nominator and the nominee get to speak to the nomination for 1 minute each. That's up to you guys. I just wanted to admit my fault that I did not put that in your notes as requested.
Thank you. We could have, I will entertain a motion to have the nominator and the nominee speak for 1 minute each. Do I have a nomination from the floor on that?
I'll motion to that. Will someone second me?
I'll second.
I'm sorry?
I will second that motion.
Okay. Debate on this motion? Okay, let's go to the question. The question is to allow the nominee and the nominator for each candidate to vote to speak for 1 minute each.
Mr. Chair Pro Tem, is there an objection?
Is there an objection to this?
No.
Seeing as there's no objection, let's go ahead and invite the nominator first and then the nominee. Who nominated Andrew Kennedy?
That was
There's been a
myself.
request of the secretary to stop screen sharing so people's faces can be seen better.
You
That's
can
already
also,
done.
I just did that. Yes.
you can choose it in your view too. Person.
Oh, okay. Yeah, cool.
So who nominated, Mr. Lucchini? I believe you nominated Andrew Kennedy.
That's correct.
Would you like to address the body?
Yes.
For 1 minute?
All right. So as Mr. Atkins had related, there are a lot of issues here. I support the formation of this entity. A lot of people think I don't. I do. I think it is important that people have the ability to participate in the National Party. Mr. Kennedy is relatively new to New Mexico politics, but he has gone and done an enormous amount of work in door knocking. In addition to that, Mr. Atkins is somebody who came in and immediately within, I think, a few days went out and knocked a whole bunch of doors and got us a bunch of signatures. So I would support him from any position in this party. Mr. Cohn, similarly, is somebody who has done fantastic work. And Mr. Trapman, I'm not sure if he's interested in a position, but I would support him as well. Mr. Kennedy has done just enormous work as a candidate, enormous work in terms of engagement, and I think he would be somebody that would bring a lot of value to this entity.
Okay, that's 1 minute. Thank you very much, Mr. Lucchini. Mr. Kennedy, would you care to address the body?
Yeah, thank y'all for thank y'all for the opportunity to address y'all. As Mr. Lucchini said, I am fairly new to New Mexico politics, but I have gone out and done a lot of feet beating on the pavement, collecting both petition signatures and canvassing for myself and other candidates. I was our only candidate last year that actually managed to win a race, and I'm currently our only state legislature candidate this year. I also was the point man who got the Eddy County affiliate set back up almost 2 years ago after it had been defunct for several years. Mm-hmm. So I'd bring all that experience that I have to the position of as chair of this new affiliate. And like Mr. Lucchini said, I'm very glad that this new affiliate's being set up as well.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. And now I call on Mr. Askin. Mr. Askin, would you like to speak in support of the nomination you made?
Yeah, thank you for even from Lucchini, thank you. And I am very glad that Andrew would like to be involved with this. I am nominating Frank Martin because since I've started doing this, he's somebody that I've had the opportunity to work with, and I think he is very serious where I can't be, and he's been actively involved in this process that we've started since the beginning, and even pushing me when I don't want to be involved sometimes, and I kind of shy away. So I know he has experience as a board member previously from LPNM, and he's just personally somebody that I've worked close enough with that I trust to get us to March safely. And that's partly my bias that, this is part of our baby, and I just want to make sure that we're safe to get it to March. And then, and I do think, I would love Andrew to get involved. I think
that's one
director position.
Thank you very much, Mr. Askin. And I will speak to my nomination. Let me start the clock here. So I founded the bylaws committee that authored the bylaws that we just adopted. And I also have past experience as a board member and vice chairman of the Libertarian Party of New Mexico. I toured various counties in eastern New Mexico to meet with county chairs. I represented the party in various ballot access legal issues centered in the Capitol. I conducted research at the Office of the Secretary of the State to determine opposition party campaign spending and the best races for Libertarian candidates. I too conducted petition drives to secure ballot access and hosted county fair literature tables for the Libertarian Party. I also founded and was former chairman of the Libertarian Party of Grant County, New Mexico. So I'm just about out of time, so I will leave it there and we will go to a vote.
Mr. Chair Pro Tem, I know these organizing meetings and Mr. Brown, I certainly welcome his input, can be confusing. Your proviso and your bylaws that say that these elections could be by voice vote. When there are elections of board positions by voice vote, the first person to get a majority is elected, even if there are 10 other nominations afterwards, and you vote in order of nominations. I know that can be somewhat of a foreign procedure, but absent a special rule of order of this body that would overcome the proviso, that's how things would go. But again, it's your convention.
I concur. Ms. Harlos is correct. The way of doing this, if it's by voice vote, the first candidate to receive a majority is elected. You don't even vote on the others. And you vote on them in the order nominated. If the first one receives more yes votes than no votes, that's the end of it right there. If the second nominee receives more yes votes than no votes, then that candidate wins and you stop right there. You can suspend the rules and adopt some other method of voting if you so desire.
Thank you, Mr. Brown, and thank you, Secretary Harlos. So I think I was the first one nominated.
That's correct.
Okay, so I will call by voice vote all in favor of Frank Martin for chair.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. For, I'm
Andrew
sorry.
Kennedy.
No, you need to ask for those opposed next.
Those opposed,
Okay.
yeah.
Those opposed?
No.
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 There are people saying no multiple times. That is extremely improper to people.
Maybe we could raise hands for a vote.
Maybe we should post the votes in chat.
Or Mr. Chair, you can do the reactions tab.
Let's go to a reactions thing here, and Secretary Cohen will count the hands.
Nate, you say Nate. Thanks.
We need some muting going on, please.
Yeah. Let's mute everybody, please, for our host. Thank you very much.
All right, we're going to go on to a reactions-based vote. Would everyone please post a thumbs up in the reactions tab for how do we do this? Do we do yes, no for each person? Or?
I would say all those in favor of electing Frank Martin as chair to indicate by doing a thumbs up in reactions. Then wait for them all to be lowered and then say all those who are opposed do a thumbs up. That's
and I have to count them and such. Yes. Okay.
Pardon me, can I interject? If you notice on the reactions, there is a yes and a no.
Oh.
The green check is a yes, the red X is a no.
Then green check is even better. Perfect.
Ms. Beatty, I mean, we could do the yes and no, but they still need to be taken separately.
Yes, but
we don't want to mix them together because they start shifting around the screen. Did someone call officially for the vote? I don't think they did.
Frank, can you go ahead and do that, please?
Yeah, please select the yes if you're in favor of Frank Martin for chair.
That's in the reactions tab. It should be at the bottom of your window.
If you're having trouble casting your vote, let us know and we'll help you.
Yeah, go ahead and say something if you're having trouble casting a vote.
I don't see a yes or no. This is John McDivitt. I see a check.
It's a green check mark, sir.
That's the yes, and if it's
that's correct. You're right.
Red X if you're voting against. Is that it?
When
that's
it's
right.
called for.
If it's called for. So we're just doing green check marks to start.
I see.
If you're yes for Frank. 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Unfortunately, it's difficult to get everyone on one screen. Just so
I'm
I can
counting behind you. If you want to count, I'll let you know if I concur.
Okay. My count is 18 yeses.
That's what I have as well.
Okay, I'm gonna write that down. All right, Frank, everyone turn your reactions off. Once we see those all cleared, we'll move on to the no's.
Rebecca,
Tom
Rebecca,
and Rebecca, you're still saying yes.
Just click it again.
Yep. Click the same thing again and it should go away.
Same thing with Thomas.
Thank you.
Yep. No problem.
Thomas, you also still have a green check.
Looks like he's working on it.
Ah.
You should be able to just click the same green check again and it'll go away. There you go. You're good. I don't see any green checks up right now. Is everyone clear? Is anyone having any technical problems? Hearing none, we will now go to the no votes for Frank Martin for chair. I'm seeing 8.
I think I have 9.
Yeah, I think I got 9.
Okay. 9 no's.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, that is the end of the chair, and I am.
So that handles that. How many members do we have currently voting?
It's not it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter?
No.
Okay. So I'll let you handle it now from here forward,
Okay.
Frank.
So
everyone can turn off your nose if you don't mind.
Right, turn off the nose. We'll now move on to the election of vice chair. Do I have? Are there any nominations?
I nominate Andrew Kennedy.
Okay. Any other nominations?
I nominate. This is for vice chair.
Yes.
Correct? Yeah. I nominate Mike Blessing for vice chair.
I accept the nomination.
Any other nominations? Okay.
I don't know how to do the wait. I don't know how to do the hand raise. Sorry. I would like to nominate Brett Chapman.
I will accept the nomination.
Okay. Any other nominations for vice chair? All right. We'll have the person who nominated Mr. Lucchini, you nominated Andrew Kennedy. Would you care to speak for 1 minute to your nomination?
I've already spoken to that.
Thank you. And Mr. Kennedy, would you care to speak to your nomination?
I don't really have anything to add from last time, no, sir.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Panetta, would you care to speak to your nomination of Mike Blessing?
Yeah. Having worked with Andrew a little bit, done some meetups out in our part of the our part of the state. I appreciate what Andrew's done. I'm nominating Mike Blessing because he's been with this group, trying to put this bylaws group together. He's been supportive of this the whole time. He's been active, and we've asked him to be active, and he volunteered to step up and help out in this in these proceedings. Yeah, so my full support goes to Mike Blessing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Blessing, would you care to speak to your nomination for 1 minute?
Well, I've been vice chair before. I was state party chair for 4 years, 2011 to 2015. I've edited the newsletter for a while. We hosted a Liberty Forum here in Albuquerque for a few years. I've done public access TV for the cause. Written several letters to the editor, a couple op-ed pieces, 70-some pieces for the Libertarian Enterprise. Been to city council a few times, testifying on various issues. Been mentioned in the Albuquerque Journal a few times for various activities. Helped run the LPNM booth at the State Fair in 95, 96, and 99. I've done door knocking, campaign signatures. I don't know what else to say.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Ms. Maloney, would you care to speak for 1 minute to your nomination?
Yes, I don't know everybody very well, so I can't speak about everyone, but I do know that I've watched Rhett, and he is exceptional. He's hardworking. He's neutral. He's professional, and he adds value to the Libertarian Party. He should be in leadership in some form. This would be my preferred place for him. I think everybody will like him, and there won't be conflicts if you pick him. He's a good guy and a good Libertarian, so that's who I would like to see.
Thank you very much. Mr. Trapman, would you care to speak to your nomination for 1 minute?
Yeah, thank you, Patty. I've been the IT director and webmaster for the former LPNM party. I've helped out with various door knocking and campaign events. I was part of coordinating the Joe Jorgensen Let Her Speak peaceful protest in Albuquerque. And as it was mentioned, I want to stay neutral and work with anyone who's willing to do good. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trapman. Okay, we are ready to move to a vote, having heard from the nominators and the nominees. Mr. Secretary Cohn, would you care to take it from here?
Are we going to start with a voice vote or not?
Yeah, actually, let's continue on with the reactions, since that really worked.
But as your parliamentarian, that's what I would suggest.
Very well. All right, we will start with the first person nominated was Andrew Kennedy. Would anyone who is voting in favor of Andrew Kennedy please mark yes on your reactions? Is there anyone still trying to vote? I'm seeing 6 votes for yes. Do you concur, Karen Ann?
Oh, I am so sorry. The executive director, I'm sorry, national business. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 votes.
Yeah, this is Mr. Brown. I counted 6 also.
We've got 7. Laura Burrows just voted.
Okay, 7.
7 yeses for Andrew Kennedy. All right, could everyone please clear your your yes reactions?
Ms. Burrows, please clear your reaction.
All right, they look to be all cleared. All people who wish to vote no for Andrew Kennedy, please click the no reaction on the reactions tab. Is anyone still in need of a vote? I'm reading 15, I believe, for no. Can anyone please confirm that? 7, 9, 10, 11, Elizabeth Hans, 12, 13, 14, 15.
I get 17.
17?
Mhm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, Thomas Fashan, 13, 14. I'm getting a different count.
Yeah, it changed. That's weird.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, Elizabeth 12. Thomas Fashan is the last one on that list. 13, 14, 15. I'm still seeing 15.
I counted 15 on this one.
Okay,
And
we're good.
whatever it's
I
clear,
counted
it's more than
17.
7. So
Yeah, I just trying to get the numbers right.
I think. Oh, I see what's happening. When you go to the next screen, it's double. It's carrying.
Yes, there are
some of the
doubles up. You have to
people
pay
over.
attention to who is the last
Ah.
person on your first screen, which makes it a little bit more painful.
Well,
Yes.
it showed Tyler asking, for instance, on both screens for me.
Right. So my screen 1 of 2 goes all the way up to Antonio Digidio, and so I have to look for
Leave
where
off
he
that.
is on the second screen and go forward from
Gotcha.
him. But
So sorry.
I think it's 15. We'll go with 15. So that goes for that. We're going to go next to the votes for Mike Blessing. Could everyone please remove your no reactions from the thing, and we will start the votes for Mike Blessing.
We still have some no votes up there with Frank, Richard.
Frank, could you please take care of your no vote? Everyone else seems clear. Yeah, everybody who is in favor of Mike Blessing, please now go for yes on your reactions tab. And we'll count those in a minute. If there's anyone who hasn't voted yet, let me just say something, but I'm going to start counting now. Yeah, well, we got someone moving in and out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 14, 15, Rivera. I'm counting 15 yeses. Can anyone confirm that?
I'm going to try to do that right now. 1 second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
15. We concur then? All right. We now have 15 yeses for Mike Blessing. Could everyone please turn off your yes reactions? Tyler, you're still up there. Elizabeth, you're still up there. Tyler's clear.
Sorry, I was eating a sandwich.
No, it's fine. Elizabeth is clear. All right. Now we're taking the no's for Mike Blessing. If you are voting no on Mike Blessing, please click the no reaction in the reactions tab. Is anyone still trying to vote? I see 2 no's right now. No, no, that's John McDivitt again. Paul McKinney and yeah. Is there anyone still waiting to vote? It looks like we have 2 no's. So that's 15-2. Does that mean that we're done, or does that mean that we still go on with Rhett's votes?
No, that means Mike Blessing is elected.
That's
All right,
correct.
Mike Blessing is elected.
Okay, so first, before we move on, I just want to ask everybody to be careful to mute yourself. We are getting some background noise here. Now, next up is the election of the secretary of the Free Libertarian Party of New Mexico. Are there any nominations?
I would like to nominate Rudy Cohn.
Rudy Cohn is nominated.
I accept the nomination.
I would like to nominate Patty Maloney.
Patty Maloney is nominated. Any further nominations? Okay, we will move to a vote. Secretary
You want to
Cohn.
hear speak on behalf?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you for reminding me, Mr. Trotman. Yeah, so Lynn, Mr. Pinetto, would you care to speak for 1 minute to your nomination?
Yeah. My specific working with Rudy Cohn has been specifically in this bylaws organization or group of people that we're trying to get this going. And there has not been a person that I think has been more attention to detail than Rudolph Cohn, catching any of the mistakes, his ability to really checking things on our behalf on the fly, correcting, when called upon, he answers.
Thank you, Mr. Pinetto. Mr. Cohn, would you care to speak for 1 minute to your nomination?
Sure. I'd just like to thank Lynn for the nomination. And so as secretary, I've been working as a scientist for a long time, so I'm comfortable dealing with large data sets and manipulating them. And they say I have a good attention to detail, and I don't want to toot my own horn, but maybe that's true. And yeah, I'd be glad to serve as secretary. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cohn. Mr. Trotman, would you care to speak for 1 minute to your nomination?
Yeah, so I've worked with Patty over the course of doing IT stuff for the former affiliate, and she pays attention to detail. She's also willing to work with anyone as well. So I would recommend her for that position. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Trotman. Ms. Maloney, would you care to speak for 1 minute to your nomination?
Thank you. I don't want to get too much into my qualifications. I've been a libertarian probably longer than most people. I've run for office twice. I've knocked on thousands and thousands of doors. My heart and soul is in this party, and I will be a person that is working actively to bring New Mexico together. On top of that, I would like to get my parliamentarian, I don't know what you call it, license, so I may have some value to add if I am chosen. I've been the vice chair of an affiliate in Michigan, served on their state board. I have leadership experience, and I'd like to help be part of this affiliate.
Thank you very much, Ms. Maloney. We will now move to a vote. Secretary Cohn?
Yes. Would everyone, so it looks like I was the first one nominated, so we'll start with votes for me. If you want to vote yes for Rudolph Cohn for secretary, please put a yes in your reactions tab, and we'll count those up. Am I allowed to vote on myself, or should I just abstain?
No, yes, you should vote on yours. I mean, I can't tell you what to do. You're allowed to.
I'm allowed to. Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
I always vote for myself, but you do you, boo-boo.
All right. It looks like people are getting their votes in. I'll start counting. I'm counting 16 yeses. Can anyone confirm that?
Let me do that. I'm sorry. I'm kind of tied up with national stuff. 1 second. 1, 2, 16.
Okay, yeah, I have 2 people in the chat who also confirm that count.
I see that. Feel free to unmute yourself for a second to say, your name and yes or whatever. Anyway, we'll proceed. Let's clear out all our reactions now. And then we'll proceed with the no votes. I see you in chat, Antonio. No big deal. All right, it looks like everyone has cleared their reactions. So if you would like to vote no for Rudolph Cohn as secretary, please put the no reaction in the reactions tab right now. All right, it looks like we have 2. Maggie, did you turn it off accidentally? I don't want to misunderstand your vote. I'm talking to Maggie Shepard.
That was accidental.
Okay, all right. So we have 2 no's, unless I am miscounting. Does everyone else see the same thing that I see?
I do.
Okay, 2 no's. I believe that completes it, or do we need to go forward with Patty? We could go forward with Patty if we need to.
No, that completes it.
Okay.
Ruby Cohn is secretary. So we will now move on to the election for treasurer of the Free Libertarian Party of New Mexico. Are there any nominations?
I would like to nominate Tyler Askin for treasurer.
Tyler Askin is nominated. Are there any further nominations? Okay, hearing no further nominations, I would consult with our parliamentarian. Do we need to have a vote?
And no, Mr. Chair, you can simply declare him elected.
Okay, I declare Tyler Askin treasurer of the Free Libertarian Party of New Mexico. And the dog, I'm sorry you lost, dog, but better luck next time. Okay.
Thank you. Can we, by chance?
I'm going to mute. Hold on.
Can we, by chance, by the idea of Tony, by Antonio in the chat here, can we rename his position as Tyler National Treasurer?
National Predator?
What?
No,
what did I walk
treasurer.
into?
Tyler, the National Treasurer Askin.
I'm sorry, I'm not with you on that. Oh, the National Treasurer. Okay, got it. Okay. Yeah, he is a national treasurer. Okay, well, just to restore decorum here for a moment, the next item of business is to sign a petition for affiliation with the National Libertarian Party. Only National Libertarian Party members who reside in New Mexico are eligible to sign. We need 10 signatures. Are there 10 such people willing to sign? I mean, I suppose we could, have a hand raise or something like that.
I mean, we could do the yes reactions. That might work.
Okay, let's do the yes reactions. If you are willing to sign a petition for affiliation with the National Libertarian Party, please check the yes in your reactions.
And if Rudy, when they're up, if you could read them out so I can get the names down, and I will send them the electronic petition. That doesn't have to be done within the business. Everyone can get to go home. You don't have to wait a half an hour for me to send these. But
Sure.
If you call out the names, I'll jot them down and I'll make sure everyone gets the petition to sign.
Before I start calling out names, is there anyone who's having technical issues? or has not been able to put the yes check up and wants to. You can say something verbally, or you can put something in the chat if you're having trouble. Let me know. Okay, hearing none, I'm going to start reading off names just based on how they're listed in my screen, so they're not going to be in any particular order. We've got Rudolph Cohn. We have Frank Martin. I'm sorry, you're going to hear my typing a little bit. We've got Tyler Askin. We've got Lynn Pinedo. We have Carrie Baldwin. We have Deborah Beatty. Did I get it wrong? I got it wrong.
No, you got it right.
Oh, good. We have John McDivitt. We have Richard Gurry. Karen Ann, am I going too fast or too slow?
Oh,
or
no,
what?
no, you're fine. I'm doing it longhand, believe it or not. So yeah.
So am I. I'm typing them out. I've got Mike Blessing. I've got Patty Maloney. I've got Rebecca Clark. I've got Aaron Pearls. I've got Rhett Trapman. I have Elizabeth Hans. I have Antonio DeGidio. I have Thomas Fashan. I have Devin Rivera. Need to click the forward thing. So Jeffrey Douglas was the last one on my list here. And I have Daniel Hust Jr. is the last one.
Okay, so that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I will get those out immediately after this meeting. And
Did I miss anyone? Did I miss anyone?
Devin Rivera.
He's in the list.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he called me.
All right. I'm sorry, I interrupted you, Karen Ann. But
oh
go
no,
ahead.
it's y'all's meeting. I'll get those out this evening. If you could sign it right away and get to me, I'm super excited to present a fully signed petition to the LNC. I've already anticipated a successful meeting because I have faith in you guys. So it's already the approval of a petition is already noticed for our November meeting. So when you guys will hear from the National Party is next weekend. We are meeting in Austin. An email vote wouldn't be faster. That is the soonest it could be approved. So it's on Saturday's agenda. So exactly a week from today. I don't see any problem with the approval. I saw no irregularities here that would cause me not to vote to approve. So yeah, I'll get this out. You guys sign it, get it back to me. I'll send copies of all of the signed dues thing to Mr. Cohn and Mr. Martin. I will also send a copy of the fully signed petition to Mr. Cohn and Mr. Martin. And you guys had a fantastic convention. Congratulations. And I do, if you'll indulge me, have a point of information to Mr. Chair. Those who ran for positions but weren't elected, is there a possibility they might be considered for some of the vacancies that currently exist on the board, since only those 4 were elected today?
Yes, there's every possibility that, and I would certainly look forward to considering them for those directorships. I also put something in the chat. You know, I really do. We have lots of room for participation in this party going forward. You know, we've only elected 4 people here today. That's nothing. We need a lot more participation. So, you know, please stick around. Don't take that you didn't win this election as, you know, meaning that we don't love you or whatever, because it doesn't mean that at all. You know, so, and also keep in mind that our terms it will expire at the annual convention that will be held in March. So at that time, there will be all new elections for everything we did today, as well as directorships. So does that answer to your question, Secretary Harlos?
Yes, and I have a promise to make to you guys. Again, it's only me. I can't promise what the LNC is going to do, but I've given this promise personally to the organizers, and I'd like to do it to each of the members here, that as an LNC member, I am absolutely committed to whatever resources we can afford to do to get you guys as a qualified political party in New Mexico to back. So we're not losing much ground. I'm fully behind you. And again, I don't know how everyone else on the LNC will vote, but it would be my honor to advocate as strongly as possible for us to get fully behind you on that.
Thank you, LNC Secretary Harlos. And thanks to our parliamentarian, Richard Brown. Having you here was absolutely invaluable. And I really appreciate your support. Ditto for all the members of the LNC who attended this this meeting.
Frank, I would love to say something really quick.
Oh yes, Mr. Eklund. I recognize Mr. Eklund, who is, let's see, you came in a little late, I think, but you are the Region 6 representative, which for the LNC, which includes New Mexico. You have the floor, sir.
Yeah, well, I'm very happy that you all have run this excellent meeting. I'm very excited. I'm writing up my report to the LNC for our quarterly meeting now, today, and because it's due tonight. And I am very happy to report on what's on this, the fact that you'll be putting in this application for affiliation. I'm so excited to encourage the rest of the board to accept it, and be in touch with you about how I can help represent you on the national board.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eklund. So it's been a long meeting, 4 hours, and I just really, I'm actually quite moved by the fact that so many of you would hang on for so long and get all this work done here today. We made it all the way. We did everything, all the business we got to. So I congratulate you all and thank you all. So with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Sine die.
Second.
Yes, this is, by the way, just to be clear, this is an adjournment sine die.
It's been seconded. Yeah.
Tyler, okay, motion seconded. All in favor of the motion to adjourn, say aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye. Love you guys. See you later.
Okay, thanks, everybody.
Mr. Martin, you
Yeah.
did
Looks like-
a fantastic job. I don't pay compliments gratuitously. I just shut up. Well, sometimes I don't show up when I don't have something nice to say, but I don't say something nice when I don't mean it. You did a very impressive job of chairing. Congratulations.
I agree with you, Ms. Harlos. And in fact, I just typed something into the chat. You did an excellent job. It was very well scripted, very well run. Congratulations.
Yeah, well, LNC Secretary Harlos, you really coordinated all this, and I'm very impressed by what you can do. As I emailed you earlier today, I'm really glad you're on our side because you know it would be you would be a formidable opponent, and to say the least. So thank you very much, Secretary Harlos. It's been an honor and privilege to work with you.
And Joseph and I, we are at your service on the LNC. I'm sure I speak for him on this. So I'm
Oh,
going
yeah.
to scoot off. Rudy, I never know what to say, is co-host. So if you guys wanted to hang out and chat about New Mexico things, I mean, you'll still have the room. Actually, I'm going to make him, I don't want it to kick you off when I kick off, but my husband's been patiently